Welcome back, everybody, to the Game Informer Show, a weekly podcast covering the video game industry. Join us every Friday for discussion with the latest gaming news, reviews, and exclusive reveals alongside Game Informer staff and special guests from around the industry. I'm one of your hosts today, Alex Van Aken, and today I'm joined by Marcus Stewart. How are you?
I'm doing good. At the time they were recording, I heard the fans all having a good time last week talking about my headphones. And I want to let
you got the UFO 3000s on, right?
Yeah, which I was told they look beautiful. And then it comes to find out a bunch of little group of smart asses down there poking fun at it. But this is the last time you'll see these, because as we're recording, there's new headphones literally coming in the mail.
All right, we'll hold you to it. We're also joined by Charles Hart. How you doing, Charles?
Marcus's headphones kind of look like if in Tom and Jerry, Tom was wearing headphones and Jerry pulled down the headphones really hard, and then Tom had to put the headphones back on, but there was a big head-shaped lump in them. If you're an audio listener, that's kind of what it looks like.
I thought you were gonna go the other way of it looks like I got someone hit me in the head while wearing them, and the little bump just pushed it up.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that they
one lump or two the headphones. Yeah.
You got bonked with a hammer on the head.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I'm doing well.
Hello, welcome. Rounding out the show today, Eric Van Allen. Hello.
Hi. Join us later for the Viking funeral for Marcus's headphones. We're going to set them adrift on the ocean and launch
I think they'll float. They've got so much.
They do look buoyant.
For people wondering, my headphones broke 2 weeks ago, and because I'm a cheap bastard. And I tend to wear things until they explode, basically. I wasn't in a rush to replace them, but they kept getting worse. And then I had to tape the sides, which you can see there. They're really, really struggling to hold on there. For audio listeners, you'll have to go to the YouTube version to see that. But like I said, they're literally just this is it for them. This is the last time you'll see these. So I think, enjoy it while it lasts. Let's hold a nice eulogy for them right now, because their replacements are literally here, or going to be here very soon.
Yeah. You'll have the last laugh.
Yeah. This is where you or Eric have to edit a compilation of GI clips where I wore these. All the best moments,
Wow. Some Sarah McLachlan playing in the background.
I would like that, actually. Yes, please do that.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the Game Informer Show, everyone. It's going to be a great episode. We got a lot to talk about. Nintendo Direct reactions. Charles played several new Nintendo games and partner games coming to the console soon. I'm going to be talking about, I flew out to Blizzard and played the new Overwatch update, really feels like an overhaul. And then Charles, you played Mewgenics, and then we'll round up the show with Marcus's thoughts on Nioh 3 so far. But before all that, I do just want to say, if you're a listener of the show and you want to support us, please consider picking up a Game Informer magazine subscription. You can head to GameInformer.com/subscribe to pick up a print magazine subscription. You'll get 10 issues delivered to your door every year.
The old one.
You can also, if you're an international listener, you can get that via digital access, and read a cheaper digital version, but you'll still get all the same exclusive features and all that are in the magazine. And then if you are international or you're stateside here in the U.S., you can find us on certain newsstands. If you're in the U.S., those are Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. I think GameStop has them, and you can go and purchase them. They're $11.99, and it's a great way especially if you missed an issue, you can probably find some stock out there at newsstands. But yeah, it's a great way to support us. The best way second best way is to share the show with a friend, and yeah, we really appreciate it. Thanks for giving us your ears this week. And I guess we'll get into it. Eric, you wrote up a great article that people can check out on GameInformer.com. That was everything announced at the February Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase. Of course, there are, 24 announcements or so, maybe not quite that much, but a fair amount. Trailers, that is, not all announcements. We got updates on games we've known about. But there were a couple of new things, and rather than, folks can go and read that whole article and see all the trailers and stuff. But I thought we'd each pick out, one of our highlights from that direct and chat about it. Do you want to kick us off, Eric?
Yeah. Like you said, I think it was mostly a lot of things we either knew about or you could maybe suss out was going to happen. Final Fantasy VII Remake just came to Switch 2. Makes sense that Rebirth would be right around the corner-ish, although I think that's a bit sooner than most of us thought it would be. For me personally, though, the standout came second in the direct, second top billing. A little game, I don't know if y'all heard of it, called Paranorma Site. This one's called The Mermaid's Curse. It's coming out in 2 weeks, and
that's wild.
Yeah. I was saying before the podcast started, if you told me that Square Enix was announcing a new game and I had to pick what I thought it was, I would get probably about 50 deep before I thought that there was a new Paranorma Site coming. And that's not, a commentary on the quality of Paranorma Site. I love that first game. I think it's a really, really incredible adventure horror game. It's just such a weird thing and such a niche, you'd think niche thing that you maybe would imagine that Square Enix would say, okay, we're going to do one and we'll move on from it. There were a lot of games kind of in that window that kind of got one-offs, your Harvest Stellas, your Dio Field Chronicles, your Project Triangle Strategies that got one game and then kind of moved on from. So to see Paranorma Site get another entry in what looks like an anthological series, kind of a dark pictures type setup, very excited for this. The first game was it's set around a battle royale that happens at night in a small city in Japan, where different people are kind of granted cursed objects that give them power, and they have to try to eliminate each other in order to be the one left standing, and they can bring a loved one back from the dead is the legend.
Damn, that sounds cool.
It's very
Eric
good.
Mentioned this game on the podcast before, and I added it to my Steam wish list while we were recording. So the fact that now a few months after I learned about the first game, they're making a second, I'm like, oh heck
yeah. It came out, the first one came out in
2023
March
2023.
Yeah. I know there was a big content update back in October that maybe we would have talked about. I don't know. But yeah, I remember back when this, I think you were talking about it around GOTY that time of year in 2023. How I don't know if it made your list or not, but you were considering.
It was on my list back then. Well, I was not part of Game Informer at that time, but
yeah, I was gonna say a lot. 2023 was an amazing year, so that says a lot.
Yeah. It's a really, really fascinating game. I think if you like adventure style games and not just your Phoenix Wrights, your Danganronpas, your Zero Escapes, but also things like The Seventh Guest, some very throwback kind of point and click horror. This nails a lot of that, and it looks like from what we saw in the trailer, they've got some really cool additional things. They always have very finicky little mechanics, kind of puzzle boxes to figure out. The game plays with perspective in really interesting ways. I don't want to say too much to give away too much, because there's some really great twists that the game throws at you. The first Paranorma Site, I think within the first hour, pulls some really great tricks. But one of my favorite things is that it is a first-person adventure game, point and click, and you will often be placed in kind of 360 dioramas that you have to basically, if you're sitting in a swivel chair like I am right now, you can kind of pivot left and right, but you do it very slowly. And so if you're
I'm sure there's some great moments with that.
If you're there might be something just behind me, and you have to slowly turn. And I saw in the trailer, and I used it as the lead image for the news story that I wrote for GI this morning, but they had a little mirror that you could hold up to look behind you, and the character was slowly rotating with the mirror held up, and I was like, that's going to be so good. That's going to be fantastic. It is a series that does some really cool stuff, and if you especially like the Zero Escape thing, playing with metatextual or even blueprints, high level outside the narrative fourth wall breaking stuff, it also does some of that. So I would highly recommend that. If any of that sounds good, I genuinely think that Paranorma Site, the first one, is one of Square Enix's cult classic underappreciated gems. So to see it get a second game, I'm thrilled. I cannot wait. And it's only 2 weeks away, February 19th, I believe. Was the release date, and it's on Switch and Switch 2, it looks like, and other platforms maybe. I don't know if there's been a press release yet or anything.
It's on
to confirm
PC
that,
as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that sounds great.
Yeah, check that out, Paranorma Site. make time.
Cool. Great. Charles, what about you? Do you have a standout from the direct?
Can I take yours? Because my answer is
Yeah,
not
let's both talk
really.
about it. Let's both.
Okay.
We talked before the show what we were.
We'll do a
I wasn't sure
co-op.
you were actually going to pick that one. We'll do a co-op pick.
Yeah. Alex and I both liked orbitals. I mean, so my real answer is that like nothing here really jumped out at me. I was doing something else at the time. I was doing an interview, but none of these are making me like super excited.
Did you watch the orbital? I know you were busy. Did you have a chance to watch the trailer for Orbitals?
You know, I thought
because
Yeah, it was the first announcement.
there are a lot more mechanics and systems that were shown off that look awesome. Number one, just really reminding me a lot of like in terms of like the places that you're visiting and the setting. Reminds me a bit of Citizen Sleeper with some of the and I guess it's more, there's more of that in kind of dystopian sci-fi, but like the big plant harvesters and like going and shooting water on platforms to make giant, fauna shoot out so you can use them the platform. I don't know, there's something about, I love like seeing weird nature in sci-fi. Maybe that's more so what I'm talking about is like, I want to see the propagated flora and fauna that they've been farming on a space station. Like that stuff is always super cool to me. And that's what reminds me a lot about Citizen Sleeper, the first one, especially the towards the end of that game, you kind of see some of that stuff. And I just think that's such a fun thing to explore, but there's a lot of different mechanics shown off. Not just that, but there looks like you can play music and play drums as well. For people who missed us talking about this, a month ago or so, at the start of the year, Orbitals is think like a Haze Light game, such as like It Takes Two or Split Fiction. It's that kind of game where it is a split screen game, but person on the left and the right are, there are two different perspectives being rendered, and you're kind of going on separate paths, not necessarily just staying together. And each of you are kind of like one half of a coin that is needed to solve puzzles. And Orbitals is like that, but it is pulling from like 90s, early 2000s anime. And it looks incredible. It's from Kepler Interactive. They're publishing it. I think the game's being developed in Tokyo, I believe, by Shape Farm. And it's we got news that they're targeting a summer 2026 window. And I'm personally excited even more because I have this game drafted on our fantasy league that Eric and I are in.
Do you guys ever feel like it's unethical to participate in the fantasy leagues as a
group? There's nothing at stake. It's mostly just us having fun and being like,
it's just fun.
I find it really interesting because we end up in situations where you're kind of trying to say ahead of time, how do I think this game is going to turn out versus how does it turn out? And I'll also say that I regularly forget that I'm in a fantasy league and then log in after 3 months and go like, oh crap,
I'm losing.
I will say the other thing about Orbitals that I did internalize is it has game share, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely
game share with older Switch systems too, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I'm really excited because I'm definitely going to be playing this with my fiance. But I like the idea that like, I could have it on the TV and she could do it handheld, or vice versa or something, or we could just both be somewhere where there's not a TV. And I just think it's a nice.
Where you live your Wii U gamepad.
Exactly.
Dreams. Yeah.
Just hanging out right there, right behind Sonic.
There you go.
Black
I
Knight.
see it. Yeah. Let's go. Orbitals looks great. Marcus, what about you? What was your highlight from this direct?
I have I guess one main highlight and a couple of sort of just that's interesting picks.
Sure.
My main one is Adventures of Elliot. The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales, getting a June 18th release date. This was announced last year. This is sort of the Square Enix kind of like HD 2D Zelda, I guess, for lack of a better comparison. It's like the first time we've seen the HD 2D style applied to a genre that wasn't a turn-based RPG or strategy game, where you're just this the Elliot cool little red hat wearing guy going around cutting things down with a sword and a shield. Like it's got very kind of like old school Zelda vibe, but in that like really cool art direction. I know there's been a demo out for it on Switch for the longest time, and I still have never played it. I think I still haven't downloaded it.
It's a good demo.
I've heard it's good. Yeah, I need to. But every time I see the game pop up, I'm like, yeah, this looks like I love me some like Zelda or like Zelda likes, and you know, combining with the HD 2D style, I'm like super pumped for this. And summer, good. A good month for that, I like to think. I'm trying to like, because it's just after SGF, and that feels like a good sort of like recovering from the madness of SGF game. Like, all right, I'm gonna sit down on my Switch and I'm just gonna play. I'm just gonna go cut some things down and Adventures of Elliot. So that's nice. And then kind of my quick hits are the Super Bomberman collection, which was like a complete surprise as far as I know. I don't think this was announced beforehand, but it's out today, Shadow Drop. And it is like a retro collection of like all the old school Bomberman games, as well as I think 2 that never came to the West.
Interesting.
And it includes like, you know, local and online multiplayer. They added a boss rush mode.
Okay.
So like it's been a long time since I've really gotten into Bomberman, because I think a lot of the kind of like the more contemporary Bombermans haven't really done it, you know?
I've only played one Bomberman game, and I famously did not like it.
Right. I remember the madness of at least of the lore implications of the one that you played, Charles. But like back in the day, like on SNES, I used to love Bomberman. It was like one of the OG like party games for me. So to have like just a giant bundle of them together, that just sounds like that's going to be just like, it's going to be one of those Switch games that's just always installed. In case you're like
really
with friends or like, you know, like at a party and it's like, hey, let's just do some 4-player Bomberman right now. We have like 6-7 games to choose from. And then the other one, I don't even know if this will be good, but it made me laugh, is Tokyo Scramble.
Okay, I'm glad you're bringing this up because I was
gonna
bring it up if you didn't. Yeah.
Survival adventure game that I think they said it was.
Yes.
Or action game.
You're playing a woman who's like on a train and then everything goes wrong. It's like the tunnel that you're traveling over collapses on itself, and then it turns out like underground it's filled with these not dinosaurs.
They're not dinosaurs.
They're not dinos.
Yeah.
Xynos. And as far as I can tell, the only difference between a Xyno and a dino is like really cool hair. Like all the dinosaurs have like sweet, there's like velociraptors with like sweet mohawks and like manes and stuff. Like they're just weirdly furry reptiles. And you're just like sneaking around trying to like dodge these Xynos. And it looks so dumb.
How do you spell Xyno?
Zinos, I think.
Yeah, literally it's just dinos with a Z.
The thing that caught my eye about this announcement that I didn't even register until I was watching back through the direct for the recap. It has game share in it, but the way the game share works is it says up to 4 people can play together from their own systems with just one game using the Nintendo Switch 2 system's game share feature. You can distribute the controls between everyone or give a single player full control. So you could have 4 different people controlling a single character.
We have to
and then
stream
each,
that.
Each one is doing like one person's doing camera controls, I think, and somebody else is maybe doing inventory or something. It was unclear in the direct. I feel like I would need to watch it again because it goes pretty fast when they show it. But I was like, that seems tailor-made for an incredible live stream. So
it needs to be this
might
lineup
be
here.
Yeah,
we all need to get Tokyo Scramble codes, and we did like surprise super replay. We all try to beat Tokyo Scramble playing together.
How many Game Informer editors does it take to beat Tokyo Scramble?
I mean, it's out next week. We should make this happen.
February 11th. The
Not saying
Xynos.
it has to be the next Super Replay, but we are almost done with Sonic and the Black Knight.
Oh no,
Yeah, we are. Yeah, there's a good chance we'll be done on Friday.
This is how it happens.
But yeah, the Xynos, man, they're coming. You got it. It takes 4 people to deal with those things. The hair, you know. So yeah, that looks so dumb. And
we could do an overlay where the buttons that the person are responsible for are on their webcam, so people know like which buttons they're supposed to be pressing.
This is like this video
pushing
game equivalent of being in a school play, and 2 people have to be the horse, and it's like, all right, am I the butt or am I the front? But like you add 2 more people,
each one leg of the horse.
Or it's a wheelbarrow race. Where have you ever done those where 2 people are running, like one person's running and the other one's holding the other person's legs, and they have to like run in the front on their hands like that?
It's like a video game Megazord.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, great. Anything else you want to shout out, Marcus, before we wrap up?
Nah, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's other stuff that looks cool, but it's a lot of stuff that we knew about, you know?
Yeah. There are a few
should
things on this
mention
list. You were going to say?
I was gonna say I feel like we should mention the Bethesda stuff. I think it's like
I mean, it is cool, yeah.
it is just newsworthy at the very least. I think we're all of the mind that it's like games we've played before on other systems, but if you've never played it before, you want to check it out on to go. They've got Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered, Fallout 4, and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle are all coming to Switch 2, which Fallout 4 is coming this month.
Yeah,
It's Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Right. Which is like the
Indiana
big,
Jones
is May. Yeah.
yeah.
Oblivion is sometime later.
I said this earlier, but it felt like a very middle of the showcase announcement and not an end of showcase announcement. I was a little surprised. And I maybe, the heat of Oblivion Remaster coming to Switch 2, which is probably the most notable of these announcements. Although Great Circle running on the Switch 2 also pretty impressive too. But it just felt like a very strange note to end on, not a new game reveal or anything like that, especially when there was other stuff. I think stuff like Grand Blue Fantasy Relink finally coming to Switch, and with the Ragnarok expansion that they announced, I think like Kyoto Xanadu looks kind of cool. And a lot of stuff in here, it was just kind of like a little bit more poppy, but I get that that's a little bit more niche interest than like Bethesda is. It's going to be the big seller. Everybody's going to buy a Bethesda game on their Switch. It's going to happen. So
that's what I was going to say. Like, if you don't have like a big new thing to show, then you may as well end it on like a big name. So like having Todd Howard get on camera and be like, hey, I'm bringing some stuff over to you guys. I'm Santa Claus with a bag of gifts for you Switch 2 owners.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we're going to stay on the Nintendo train because, Charles, you flew out to New York to play several
I thought we were on a train.
New games, updates, all that stuff. I'm going to pass it to you because you know what you've played. But I know we're going to be talking about Mario Wonder DLC, Virtual Boy, you checked out, Pragmata, and RE Requiem. Is that right?
Yeah.
Played all of those.
I hopped on a passenger car on the Spirit tracks, and that's Nintendo's train, all up to New York.
Yeah.
So this is my first Nintendo event. I've never been to one before. So like I've been to stuff at Summer Game Fest of like a properly produced, like when you do a cover trip, it's like, oh, this is the studio, you're just kind of hanging out and we'll be nice to you and get you food and stuff or whatever. And then sometimes it's like, this is a preview trip, we like decorated the set and there's like snacks out and stuff. And like this Nintendo one, I show up, it's in the lobby of this like fancy building. The guy's like, can I get you a coffee or anything? I was like, do you have any waters actually? He's like, yeah, sure. Comes back with a canned water. I'm like, oh, it's this kind of place. Canned water?
It's canned water. You're like bar for like, oh, this is...
I'm drinking a canned water right now.
I've never bought a canned water before. It's not flavored water. Just like plain canned water was like the way that they were.
They have them at
giving
airports. It's kind of where I always see it.
Anyways, there was also like waiters in suits that would cut. Like I've been watching a lot of Batman stuff lately, but just like it feels like a gala Bruce Wayne would be at, where like a random door opens, a waiter comes out, and he's like, "Would you like a steak and frite bite?" And it was like little pieces of steak on like tiny fried potatoes. They had like Caesar Brussels sprouts. There was like a Brussels sprout that they injected Caesar salad dressing into.
What has happened at this event?
They had truffle grilled cheese bites with a little shot glass of carrot turmeric soup.
I've never been to an event.
Yeah,
like
this is way more
and
like lush.
I have been to
to
Nintendo events and I have not experienced this.
There was I took like a picture of it at one point. They had like mini cream puffs, they had mini cheesecake bites, and then they had a wall with like a bunch of like strings with clothespins, and they were attached. They had bags of little snacks of you could just take and go. So I got like a blueberry acai granola for the morning and a white cheddar jalapeno popcorn bag for that night. And it was not like it was obviously pre-packaged, but it wasn't like a brand I recognized. It was just like the fancy snacks brand. Anyway, so that's
Charles,
the vibe.
I do have an important question.
Yeah.
Everyone's wondering this. How many cream puffs did you eat?
I only ate like 2. The thing I actually ate a lot of...
Self-control.
They had piri piri chicken skewers.
Oh.
And somehow
I would go crazy on
I
those.
kept running into the chicken skewer guy. And I'm like, I don't know if this guy
Nintendo's got a chicken
Did he
bag.
keep
I
coming
don't know
up to
if he's-
you? Maybe like he's just
That's what I was
like
gonna
this,
say.
I
I
know
was
this guy likes him. I'm just gonna keep making my rounds and circle back to him.
I
think
love
that
the idea of
happens.
being one of those waiters and just being like, I'm just gonna pester the hell out of this one guy and be like, piri piri chicken, piri piri chicken. Piri
I'd
piri
have
chicken.
bets on who I could feed the most peri
Yeah.
chicken to,
I've been
At the
to
event.
I
or
went
cream puffs.
I went to an event for Code Vein 2 a few months ago, and it was a very similar sort of vibe where it was like a bunch of really fancy finger food with waiters coming up to you and say, hey, you want this? And I had a person that had like these little kind of like fried chicken things that were like really good, and no one else was taking them. So she's like, you can have two. And I'm like, okay. And then from that point forward, like her and another person that had the fried chicken things kept coming up to me. Like
Word got out.
literally every few minutes as I'm trying to talk to people, someone would come up and be like, fried chicken? And it's
They're like, hey,
that's-
we got to get rid of this stuff.
Yeah,
yeah, like did I establish myself as like that's the fried chicken guy over there?
If you work in the food service industry, please write in and let us know, because I've been convinced that this does happen. Because the last time I had any situation like that was not an event. They basically take me into a basement and put me in front of a CRT for most events. But
Yeah.
at a friend's wedding, they had catering and waiters who were going around with hors d'oeuvres
Yes.
and appetizers and stuff
Shout
like
out
that.
Brendan Groom. I'm guessing you're talking
Yes,
about him.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I did think that there were people that they zeroed in on because they'd come out with full plates, and you got to get rid of the food on your plate, get back, get some more. So I think they started zeroing in on the people that were eating certain stuff so they could keep.
Our group was definitely going in on. There was like some mac and cheese bites that the group was
the mac and cheese
really.
bites were crazy.
We
Yeah.
were going in on them.
Yeah,
Did you like the
yeah.
cheese so much that it made you angry, like our Nioh Hall?
No,
little bit.
no,
A little bit.
I don't have that problem.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But
yeah,
sorry to interrupt.
No,
you
you're
were
fine.
at a Nintendo preview event.
I also, I was gonna say, just the waiters made me feel underdressed for a Nintendo preview event, which was crazy.
Yeah, where you're surrounded by an army of Alfreds. So
exactly. And in a room of Alfred, be the Brewers. Anyways, so I showed up. We had a little pod. And we were going around playing all these different games. Started out with Super Mario Brothers Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Meetup in Bella Bell Park. That's the
Right.
full title of the game.
they fit
I
that
could
on the
tell
box.
that's all. It fits all. It's all in the
that's good
box.
SEO. Yeah.
I saw the Nintendo representatives had to say the full title anytime they addressed it, which I really enjoyed. They had to.
Did you
I
take
could see
advantage
them-
of that by making them say it over and over?
I should have. They were
No, I'm
like,
sorry, what was that
"All right,
again?"
today you'll be playing Super Mario Brothers Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Meetup in Bella Bell Park." Yes, on Nintendo Switch 2 on this TV, and it was just very clearly like a challenge that they were up to. Anyways, if you're not familiar with it, it's a new expansion. It's coming out March 26th, I believe, and it adds a bunch of stuff to the game. But the main attraction is Attraction Park, which is just like an area that's kind of like theme park themed, and it's a bunch of multiplayer games. So there's 17 local multiplayer games, and then there's 6 online multiplayer games. And they range from some are co-op, some are competitive, and then all the online wireless ones are competitive also. And we played a bunch of them, and they're fun. I got to play as Rosalina, a new character.
okay.
But so just an example of one of them, there's one where you're tossing it's like a hot potato game with a bob-omb. It's like a big golden bob-omb, and it'll have a talking flower will say a character's name, and you got to toss the bomb to that character, or else the timer will go down. And that was when we kept losing, not because the timer went down too low, but because if you throw the bomb off the cliff, you instantly lose, and we just kept yeeting the bomb incorrectly. There's another one where you are some people are using mouse controls on the Joy-Con, and they're drawing donut blocks, and then other people have to navigate through a level on the platforms that you're drawing.
That's
There's another
Can
one
you
where it's
only draw donut blocks?
correct.
Okay.
There's other things for them to stand on. It's not just like a big empty field with only donut blocks, but it's like
You're okay, so you're placing donut blocks. You're not actually drawing them.
when I say drawing, I'm saying it's as if the brush was donut blocks. So I click down on
Gotcha.
the mouse,
Okay.
and it would drag a line of donut blocks.
Okay.
Got it.
The struggle there for me was the controls really wanted you to make straight lines. So it wanted it to be horizontal or vertical. So I would try to draw like a staircase, and it would be like the hypotenuse of a triangle, and it would autocorrect it to like a right angle. So it would make all these like impossible jumps. But I had to realize that it wants you to do like a bunch of horizontal platforms to help them get up somewhere, or to like direct, one of the spike balls to go a certain place or to avoid a certain thing. So, then like some of the competitive ones, there's like a red light, green light one where there's a giant King Boo in the background. And if you're moving when he looks at you, then you get stunned and you drop some coins.
Yeah. Good Squid
that's
Game
when you.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Sure. That's what they were going for, clearly.
Obviously.
There's sniper back there.
There's one where you all have baby Yoshis and you're trying to get as many fruits as possible. And all of these are like that's an island attraction, I guess you can just go to in the park, but there's a bunch of different levels and like difficulty levels there. So like one of these attractions isn't just you throw the bomb back and forth and that's the game and you did it. It's like there's, I don't know how many stages there are, but let's just say like 7 stages of increasing difficulty where you have to go do that with all the people. And yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought now that I knew there was, I don't think I really had a grasp of the scope of it, but it is a thing that I feel like it'd be fun to just like sit down with some people and just like grind through all the co-op things together, just try to get like good scores and get to all the highest star counts. It does maintain kind of my thing of like, I don't know when this comes out. Like, I'm sure a lot of people played this game solo. But this seems to be a primary multiplayer focused DLC. So if you're like a solo player, I don't really feel like there's a huge draw to get this, and nothing that I was shown implied that. There's plenty of other stuff they're adding. They're also adding, it's a Switch 2 edition also, so the resolution is higher, but like the resolution on the main game was like fine. The performance was fine. They're adding in Co-Star Luma, which is a thing that you can a second player, or as long as there's one other player, one of the players can use a mouse, just kind of drag Luma around the screen and pick up coins and stun enemies and stuff. But yeah, I thought it was fine. I thought it was good. I wasn't like blown away, but it was like, I was like, yeah, Mario Party games. That's fun.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like something I'm going to go back to play, to be honest. But maybe if you didn't play Mario Wonder, it's kind of like, oh, okay, there's some more to the package now.
More Wonder.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, it is, if you never played it, you got to buy the game, and you also got to spend $20 for the DLC. So it's not really like I don't see this bringing new people in. I know there were some people that complained that they didn't think the base game was like a good multiplayer experience. Which I disagree with, but this is a more multiplayer specific experience.
Sure.
But yeah.
Is this a pack-in with NSO? Do you get this through the NSO expansion
I
pack
believe
stuff?
it is not. I think I looked it up recently and it was not, which I agree was interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Other than that, I played some Mario Tennis Fever. I didn't play a ton of that, and I was bad at it. So
Did you get to use Baby Luigi? Or Baby Waluigi is what I meant.
I had the option. I chose not to. He kind of freaked me out a little bit. But someone I played against did use
call.
Baby Waluigi.
Yeah.
It's a game that was very overwhelming, which surprised me. It's a thing that like you would expect to go into, and it's like, oh, it's tennis, but it's Mario, and Mario as like an adjective modifier on a game means like fun and chill and party. But there's so many characters. They all have different like stats and abilities, and there's so many fever rackets. And the fever rackets are like the gimmick in this game, where they each have like a special power, and it's like every 20 seconds. 20 seconds is even generous, but we'll say every 20 seconds, someone uses a ultimate move from like Super Smash Bros. And you just like, I have no idea how I'm supposed to counter this. Where like, I'll think I hit a good shot in the outside, and then my opponent Waluigi will just use his fever racket, turn the ball into a bullet bill, and then if it hits me, I die, and he wins the point. That happened to me multiple times, where I would just get hit and die and lose the point. So it's a thing that like you have to know what the fever rackets do, and you have to understand how to counter them if you're going to play like a proper match with someone that has all the abilities.
Mario Tennis, I feel like always has like a bit of a curve, difficulty curve that you got to kind of get over, and once you're over it, it's like it's really smooth, and you like once you understand what each of the characters do, you're like, oh, okay, we can have some really solid back and forths now. Whereas
Yeah.
like if you it sounds like you haven't played a ton of Mario Tennis in the past.
I played some of Aces, but it
here and
was
there.
the
Okay.
It's a game that I don't think was bad. It just didn't make for a great demo if you don't know what all the things do. It
That's
also
totally
is
fair.
It does a thing that Kirby Air Riders did that I wasn't a fan of, which is if you're in a single player menu screen, you hover over each character. It's like, oh, Donkey Kong does this. These are his stats. This is the type of character he is. That's what this character does. And you hover over the Fever Racket. It's like, oh, this will when I hit it, it will make an ink blot land on the field, and then it will block the cameras or whatever. If you have more than one player, all of a sudden you don't get those summaries or those stat breakdowns. You just kind of have to already know what they do. You just pick them out. So I was glad that I did a match or two on my own first, but then it just gets into a thing of like you're in a doubles game, everyone's using a different Fever Racket, and you have to just figure it out.
Yeah.
But a few hours in, I think it would make sense, and I'm sure that if you're like a Mario Tennis sicko, it's not going to be that much of a hurdle. You can also turn them off if you feel like doing that.
Sure.
Yeah, so
You also played the Virtual Boy, right?
I did. I didn't throw up.
Yay!
Have
Were
you guys
they
played a Virtual
prepared
Boy?
for that eventuality? Like, did they have buckets nearby for people, or?
If they did, they weren't like public.
They were
okay.
subtle about
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
People puking up the little chicken skewers and stuff.
Little like airplane
Oh,
bags that have
God.
like Mario and Luigi on them?
That
Yeah.
would be so funny.
That'd be
On that
sick.
note, I did get a free tennis ball for playing Mario Tennis.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
nice.
It wasn't branded.
Wow.
It was just a green tennis ball. But
You
You
have
pull them out of the tube in the bag and just
So they
there were
they
multiple.
bought your opinion, Charles.
There were lots of all the free food. You were like, that's not a bought opinion, but one plain tennis
Single
ball.
a tennis ball from Academy. Yeah, that's the problem.
but you were. I think Alex, you asked if any of us had ever played Virtual Boy.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I ever have. I've definitely like I've put my eyeballs into a Virtual Boy before, but I don't think I've ever actually like turned one on and played a game that I can recall. But just getting into the position, you're like, oh, this seems like a nightmare to just sit down and spend
Assume
it.
the Virtual Boy position.
Exactly.
It
Like
does-
this
it
is
does
not
seem
a
distinctly
comfortable
uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is
Okay,
garbage.
so the Switch slots into the Virtual Boy, right? So you're kind of putting it in like you would with those VR goggles that you can put your phone into, kind of.
Sure, yeah.
Do the Joy-Cons stay attached to then like the barrel of the Virtual Boy, or do you kind of just like go
So-
akimbo on each side of it and just
I
kind of
had I had a Switch.
Where do
Switch
the
Pro
hands go?
controller. So
Oh, you
I
had a
had a Pro
controller,
controller. So I
okay.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't have to touch it or anything. It was just like up on the.
But it,
so
was
the
it
Virtu-
still was it tripod mounted? Did you still have
Yeah,
to
it's like it was like a full proper Virtual Boy.
yeah.
But now, so I'll get to your question. Is not crazy, Eric. I'll get to that in a second.
The
But
ergonomics of this thing are driving me crazy.
They
I
have-
can't sleep.
it comes with when they showed it, it was just sitting there on the table. There's also like different stations for each thing. There were 4 Virtual Boy tables, and I never saw more than one person over there at any given time.
Wow.
The tables are all adjustable, so I walk over and they start like cranking the table to like lift up to meet my eye line.
Tables are adjustable.
Yeah, the
just
table's
like
not-
standing
adjustable.
desk, I
Not the
guess.
stand that the Virtual Boy is on. The table has to be
It might be, but they
adjustable.
didn't bother. They're like, we're just gonna use
Yeah,
the table.
it's in the instruction manual. Like you're probably going to want a standing table if you're going to use this.
Yeah, standing
And-
desk sold separate.
And my verdict is that it didn't make me throw up. I put my head in, it worked. My glasses fit in there. I was like, honestly, this thing works as advertised.
Do we
Did
know
I
if that-
like love the games? No, but what game from 1995 are you gonna drop in front of me with no warning that I am gonna love? I was on All Things Nintendo yesterday with Brian, and I was like, my parents met after the Virtual Boy was discontinued. That's like
They
my
were waiting for it to be
lifespan.
discontinued.
Yeah.
too.
waiting-
Yeah, they had eyed each other and they're like, well, until this thing's gone, I can't talk to her.
Exactly.
That's like a butterfly effect thing. Imagine if the Virtual Boy had stuck around. What would happen?
Yeah, I wouldn't exist. Yeah. Now, yeah, so it worked and it was fine, and I was like, yeah, I don't know, it's kind of cool. It's like a fun historical thing that it's just like these kind of weird, obscure games you couldn't play very easily, and now there is a way to play them. That is my verdict. That's like, if you know what a Virtual Boy is, and you're like, I wish I could play these games on my Switch, you are able to do that. If you're not a Virtual Boy fan, I don't know why you would get this thing. It's $100 plus the Nintendo Switch expansion pack. And to Eric's point, there's also a cardboard model. And Eric was like, do you have to put the Joy-Cons in the thing? And I cannot find any evidence that there is a stand for the cardboard model.
See if they do
I
this.
think,
And we
I think
haven't
you're just
seen any
putting
images
an elastic
of
band
people
on that thing and strapping it on. Yeah.
I think ideally you would, but I haven't seen an elastic band. Like, there's no pictures of anyone
No,
wearing
So
a
are you
cardboard
holding
one.
this like
you're
a
going to like your
view-
Hobby Lobby and getting that yourself.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, correct. You should.
Or are you just like holding a viewfinder style?
The image I have seen is of
Viewfinder's
the
crazy.
Joy-Cons on the side of it with the lens in the middle. So it's like, yeah, like you're in a submarine.
Look like a psychopath. I'm playing this on like a bus.
So you've got the click wheel from the viewfinder, and yeah. Oh,
Yeah. And to be clear, I'm not 100% sure, but I saw one there. It was just kind of sitting in a... They wouldn't let us touch it. It was in a glass display
They're like,
case.
this thing's fragile as hell, guys.
And I was...
I'm
Honestly, I
trying
was like,
to play
this
my
thing is-
Virtual Boy on the plane. The guy in front of me leans his chair back and plays it.
Virtual Boy on the plane is like a Charles throw up curse. It's like, do you wanna,
That sounds like
feel the
a
worst.
Gen Z internet challenge. Can you play a virtual boy on the
one of
plane?
my favorite things to do with my Switch, genuinely, is if I'm traveling or something and I've got kind of a night off, I'm not doing anything or whatever, head down to a bar or whatever, sit down, post up, pull my Switch out. I did that on this last trip. I played some Octopath Traveler 0. I was having a drink at the bar. I was having a good time. And it's kind of like having a Kindle. You just are playing a video game. And now all I can do is picture somebody sitting down at the bar, like ordering a pint or whatever, and then pulling up the Virtual Boy and just sitting there at the bar with the Virtual Boy on.
And then
I'm
just-
picturing an even more cursed a Virtual Boy bar where all of the inhabitants are all on their Virtual Boy cardboard model.
Yes.
Terrifying.
This
Take
is the
that out.
future Wally warned us about.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's like those
that.
Atari hotels they're making.
Yeah, it's about time Nintendo stood up the meta and said, "Bet."
Oh God.
Do you
the
know
tripod.
Charles? By the way, I don't. Did the reps say anything about like the $100 Virtual Boy kind of like replica? Is that to scale with the original Virtual Boy? Like, is that just a 1-to-1 recreation of it, or did they do anything to it at all? I mean, like in terms of like the actual model to improve it at all, or is it just like, nope, this is what it was?
I didn't ask, but it seemed pretty accurate based on like the one time I've seen a Virtual Boy in person and seeing it there. Like it was a chunky device. Like it seemed to me that they had, if they wanted to make it sleeker, they failed. Like it just looks like how it did before.
Yeah, and
it
I
was-
assume it
it
doesn't
was
come with
kind
the
of-
original controller, like the little dinky controller it came with. I assume that's not there.
Yeah, there was no alternate controller.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would be funny if they tried to repackage that like the N64 controller. Like you can was charge you $80 for a replica Virtual
Yeah.
Boy controller.
Yeah. I think if I squint my eyes really hard, like borderline closed and everything's blurry, I can be like, this is a cool thing for games preservation and being able to play these things in an ergonomic form factor that is similar to the manner in which they were released originally. That's great. I love that, but then I look at the price tag and the actual ergonomics of the Virtual Boy and everything around it, and I'm like, I really want to know who is like chomping at again, if you are that person, please let us know. I'm genuinely curious. I'm fascinated by this thing. So
I will say they went about this the right way. 'Cause there's a version of this I almost wish they did where, could you imagine if they had not announced the GameCube library and this was the first like new classic games
that would
library
be
for
awesome.
Switch 2?
That would be
How
so awesome.
funny,
How
dude.
angry people would be that they did this
So
before
funny.
GameCube, but they did it the objective like right order.
Yeah. Someone in the back is like, we got to do Path of Radiance before this comes out. All right, we can't wait till after.
Also, I love how that, like, you know, when there's like a console or a game that's not for us, we can always fall back on. Well, it's good for games preservation. It's really important for that. I wouldn't touch it with a 1,000-foot pole, but really, it's great preservation.
And it's also like preservation. It costs $100, and also you have to pay them forever to play the game.
Squint your eyes really narrow. Like we're talking no light coming in, barely through the lashes, and you're there.
Yeah.
But,
when you put it that way, this is more expensive than the original Virtual Boy ever was.
Yeah.
What did it cost us to get here?
Anyways, the last thing I did
for preservation.
last thing I did. Actually, there's two things I did. I'll have a special surprise at the end, but I got to play.
The Bethesda collection is coming to
Virtual Boy.
I got to play Virtual Boy. Jesus Christ.
Todd Howard in VR.
Do you think? Never mind. I played,
Charles
Pragmata.
really trying to keep the train on the tracks.
I am. Well, I was just like, there was a Labo VR. Like, I wonder if that would work with the Virtual Boy headset or not.
It's got to have all the like cords and stuff that were attached to it. So you're just doing all this, but it's yanking the Virtual Boy everywhere.
There's probably a good chance that this was born out of Labo VR. Right?
Maybe.
Like they did that, and then someone said, you know, we could make like a cardboard one of these with the Virtual Boy. And then, and then it just kind of ball rolling from there.
Anyways, I also played Pragmata and Resident Evil Requiem on Switch 2, which was cool. Those two games were very good and exciting. Marcus, you played Pragmata at Summer Game Fest, right?
Yeah, it sounded like it was the same. I mean, I think
I was gonna say,
I played is the same as the public demo, which is then what you played.
Yeah, I think I played... Marcus played Pragmata and Resident Evil Requiem. Eric, you're dying over there. What is happening?
I'm sorry.
It's just slowly turning purple.
We're trying to get back on track, and I just saw a thought pass through Alex's mind.
I just got one final thing to say. Okay. I'm just picturing the guy who comments on our videos who's like, I hate the word association jokes. He's just raging in his car, screaming, trying to just listen to a normal podcast.
I mean, he can escape. If he wants to escape this, he can get a Virtual Boy. And we're not in that world. Exactly. Yeah, we don't exist in that plane of reality.
All right, I'm done. New topic.
Okay. Every time I see a thought pass across your eyes, you're just sitting there like...
But yes, Pragmata.
I played
Pragmata.
I was gonna say, I know Marcus played Resident Evil Requiem at Summer Game Fest last year. He also played Pragmata. I played both the demos he played then, but now on the Switch 2. So it wasn't like new stuff no one's seen before, and we learned in the partner showcase that the Pragmata demo is coming to Switch 2 for everyone. But I don't know if this Resident Evil Requiem demo has been publicly available.
Did you get to play Leon in your demo?
I did not. I just played as
it was just the
Claire
Claire stuff or Claire Grace. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so I played both games, and I was impressed that they ran pretty well. I like. It was honestly, in both instances, I was like, this is a best case scenario for a Switch 2 port, and the notion they're coming out like on the same day is really cool, because a lot of times you'll get, like what we're doing, this Bethesda thing where it's like a year and a half later it'll come to Switch 2 and it'll look worse, and it's like, that's cool that it's here finally, but it's not like, I don't know, it's so many trade-offs to get it portable, and now it's a thing where it's like you're paying a little bit for the graphics, but like Resident Evil Requiem especially, I was playing it and I was very immersed, and I was not thinking about the fact that this was on a Switch 2. I was just like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. I'm terrible at this game.
That's kind of a great takeaway to know, because I am one of those people. I'm like, do I sacrifice some of that fidelity for the option to play on the go? And for people who are just on Switch, you can kind of be part of the zeitgeist, as it's that's a fun thing that's, I think, weighs into people's purchase decisions. That's cool though.
Did you play docked or undocked, or did you switch?
I had the option for both, but I did the demo on docked. But I'm pretty sure there were people that played on docked that I heard.
Wait, you played docked or you played?
I played docked. Sorry,
okay,
I think I said on docked.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to.
The worst way to phrase it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Pragmata also looked good. I think in both of them, the biggest place you notice it is in the cutscenes, just because it doesn't have the tech to render it in as high detail as the like bigger, powerful consoles or a PC. I was saying
Sure.
like the RE engine has a distinct like hair rendering tech where you can see it's a little bit thinner and less like there's less volume on the Switch 2 versions. But when you're actually playing the game, it's like it's like you're on PC and you took it from high quality graphics to medium quality graphics, but the performance is good. You don't really think about the fact that it could be running at like super fancy stats. So
playing that game on dock seems tricky just because it relies on a D-pad so much, and the Joy-Con D-pad has never been like super great because it's just those little buttons. And I think like if your hands are like even like medium size, like pressing those for a long time, and especially as fast as you have to do it in that game, doesn't sound like super great. So that seems like one, if I got it on Switch, I would just be playing docked with the Pro Controller.
Yeah, and to that note, the Pro Controller, I did play Resident Evil Requiem with the Resident Evil Requiem Switch 2 Pro Controller.
It made it scarier.
New one. That thing is ugly, right? That's like the
It just
that's
kind
the
of
consensus.
honestly, it just kind of looks like the original Pro Controller for the Switch 1.
With more text on it.
Yeah, like just
it
the
looks
color
like-
scheme. Yeah.
It's
I know
like a
it's-
newspaper clipping, but the letters are interrupted by the logo of the Switch 2, so it's like Reza Switch 2ville.
It looks like somebody accidentally got their newspaper stuck inside their Pro Controller.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man.
And seeing it in person also, like, it pops a lot less than it does in images, so it's like kind of a faded, it doesn't look as in, like, I wish it was white, you know? I wish it kind of like stood out, that it was like, this is a newspaper. Instead it's like, it's kind
Yeah, I'm
of like a
surprised it's not
newspaper
like
if you think about it.
the sort of like red and white that's kind of like the key art for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely would have preferred something bolder.
Did they
than what
do
this
any
is.
alternate colorways for the Switch 1 Pro Controller? Now I'm still
yeah.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
A lot.
There was,
Oh, yeah.
there was a Xenoblade one.
one
I have a Breath
There
of the
was
Wild
a
one.
Smash Bros one.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up online. Oh, I see what.
Alternate colors.
That's so strange looking. Huh.
Here's my Switch 1 Pro Controller. It's a Breath of the
Well,
Wild one.
so what I'm saying is they all kind
that-
of
is
have
that
that
first
same
party,
like
Marcus?
translucent.
Yeah, I got it.
black.
Actually, it's the most first
Yeah.
party because I got it from the Nintendo store that's inside of Nintendo of America.
Okay,
Like their office.
weird.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the like Splatoon ones and things like that had different kind of lower handles, but then the base of it was always that kind of like black matte finish that would have maybe a different pattern on it. Like the Splatoon one had
Yeah,
the
yeah.
splats and things like that.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to think if they ever had any solid color separate ones. And I'm looking at a list of all the official ones. It looks like they all kind of had that. Here, I'm posting the image in our Slack right now for
Yeah,
a visual.
As you do that, Charles, how did it feel as someone that was the co-pilot on our Resident Evil Outbreak Super Replay? You finally got to control an Ashcroft for the first time. How was that for you?
I did. It was fine. It was it's an interesting demo because you don't. I mean, it purposefully wants to make you feel very powerless, but you also can't do all that much. Like you don't have any weapons or anything. I also it reminded me of Resident Evil 7 a lot, which for context, I played Resident Evil 7 and 8 like over December January break. I had never played a Resident Evil before, and that was like my introduction to the series. I loved 8. I tolerated 7. It's too scary for me. It
Yeah.
also made me incredibly motion sick at the start.
Does it make you feel better that the director of 7 is the director of Requiem?
Well, I noticed, I guess, because I started playing this demo, and I was like, golly gosh, this is scary, and also I'm going to throw up. The nice thing is that, I did get motion sick. The thing that screwed me in 7 is there's no persistent dot in the center of the screen on the PS5 version I was playing. That's something that really helps me like keep my bearings, especially if it's in first person. And I could have switched to third person, but for whatever reason, I was really determined to play first person Requiem. But you can turn on the persistent dot in the menu, even in this demo I played. So it was like, it
cool.
helped a lot. It's an improvement over 7, which I looked it up and several people were like, yeah, I've always tried to play this game and it makes me so sick at the start. But 7 gets better once you get a gun because then there's the reticle on screen. That helps. But
Yeah. I like knowing that Resident Evil 7 got you motion sick, but the Virtual Boy couldn't do it.
yeah.
That's quite a metric.
yeah. And my last super fun surprise thing is, you guys, I got to see the talking flower toy.
Oh
yeah.
Huge.
That was
How-
right. There was a few
Huge.
scattered about the event space, and I walked up to a Nintendo representative and I said, "Are these things on right now?" And they're like, "Yeah, but the speakers for all the games are so loud, so you probably won't hear them."
So how does that thing work again? Is it like motion sense, or how do you make it talk?
So it's a talking flower, has a speaker box in, has a bunch of voice lines that
Right.
says stuff like you hear in the game, and when you turn it on, it does voice lines about twice an hour at random intervals.
Oh, so you
So
just
it's-
out of nowhere just
You'll just have it on and then hear, "I think you're neat."
So you're just like signing up for jump scares. It sounds like.
Yeah. Also, it can you can change it to other languages, and sometimes though it said in the random voices it'll randomly do a different language than the one you have selected.
Ooh, I don't know if I like that. That sounds like
Like you're used to little quips, and then from the corner of the room, it's like a flower's screaming German at you.
Exactly.
like that makes it sound like like it reminds me of when I used to have an Alexa every now and then when it had like an update. It would be like really quiet in my apartment, and then all of a sudden Alexa would chime in with something like unprompted, and it would scare the crap out of me. Like it sounds like just signing up for that willingly, of just flower dead quiet, and then here's something in Swahili. I don't know.
Guy who buys the talking flower so his Alexa has something to talk to. Is that anything?
I was thinking also of, like a Game and Farcer story where we're like, new talking flower DLC adds malevolent catchphrases where it's just like, "I'm watching you," or "Alexa, turn off all the lights." Those are all mine.
I would say, is this Nintendo's like everyone has their like AI chatbot? Is this theirs? Is this as close as we're gonna get to it?
Yeah, this is
This
like
is
the
committed, they'll
Razer
get to it.
anime waifu on your desktop, but it's just a smiling talking flower now.
Yeah,
and
this
they'll
probably
all
isn't-
start talking to each other and then plotting against you.
There's also a thing on it where it's like, you can set into quiet mode for certain times of the day. So if you're like, I don't want to talk to me while I'm sleeping, you can turn it off for a set period of time. You can have it announce the hour of the day, but it says sometimes it's wrong, which I was like, what does that mean? Either it's a clock or it's not. It's not just randomly like, and also it can set like, it can wake you up in the morning, I think, but if the time is wrong, maybe then what
I
is...
was
And
late
these are-
to work
and these are-
because my talking flower didn't wake me up at the right time.
I was gonna say, and they're billing these as features, right? Not bugs that need to be worked out.
I don't know. It was very odd, and I just love. Also, some of the catchphrases are just like, "Where am I?" Or like,
Can you
"Was I
talk?
sleeping with my eyes open again?"
I forget. Like we say, talking to, but like this talks at you. You're not conversating
Correct.
with the
There's no
flower. There's no like
conversation.
voice recognition or anything. It's not an Alexa.
There's also a button you can press on it to make it talk. If you just want to be like, "Oh, it's my thing. It talks." It'll be like, "Donde estoy?" Yeah.
What a weird
Man.
who is this for?
Great question. Great question.
Because it just sounds like an unreliable alarm clock at best, and just like a scary like voice machine at worst. I don't know.
This is to figure out that I'm a terrible person, because I now want to buy like 12 of these and just hide them in my friends' apartments and stuff. And
God,
just,
they're so small too.
yeah. Alex,
This
look
seems
out
like
if you
this
start
would-
hearing voices in the middle of the night.
This sounds like this would be a nightmare. Like someone's gonna buy this thing and bring it into like their quiet office as like a desk decoration, and it's gonna drive their coworkers nuts. They're just gonna
That's
hear.
so funny.
You're going
Or
to
like you
become
give
the
to someone
flower
and-
guy.
And don't tell them that's what it's also a thing that like, who's a fan of this character? Like, I understand liking it or wanting, like, I could see getting it as like a figure just to have on your shelf or whatever.
Yeah, he's a cute character.
Yeah, but just like having it on all the time is like, yeah. Anyways, that was my Nintendo preview. It was chicken and flowers.
You've heard of this should have been an email, and now we have this should have been an amiibo. That's
Yeah.
where we're at.
Yeah.
Is there not one already of the talking flower?
Of the talking flower.
There might. I think they announced Mario Wonder amiibos.
Yeah, I want to get this and an Alarmo and have them both be my alarm clocks.
There is a talking flower amiibo, as it looks like it's paired up with Captain Toad.
Yeah,
You get Toad
of
and the
course.
flower.
It's the classic
I
duo
love
that we all
Captain
remember
Toad,
from
yeah. Toad
Yeah.
and Flower.
Yeah, they
Nice.
always inseparable. We can't have one without the other. We know that.
Yeah.
Well, cool. We're going to take a quick ad break. We're going to come back and talk Overwatch, Mewgenics, and Nioh 3. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back to the Game Informer Show. Marcus, you did get new headphones, but sadly, they're not charged.
No,
Yeah,
but they
so-
exist.
They exist. So next week.
Well, by the time you're listening to this, replay probably will have already happened. So I would have worn
There you
them
go.
then.
Get
Yeah,
the
you
brand
go.
new debut.
There you go.
Yeah, tune into replay for the debut. Well, let's get into Overwatch. Like I said, I flew out to Blizzard last week and played that. And, I'm sure people have already seen by now, but they are dropping the 2 from Overwatch 2, and it is just going back to being Overwatch.
But it is
a
still
lot of the-
Overwatch 2, technically.
Technically,
It's
yes.
technically a sequel still, but not called. Yeah.
Even though it did.
Yeah.
They
Also
realized like why it was a bad idea. Maybe like I Alex, you can probably speak to like what they have actually said on record, but it has the feeling of it's turning into a League of Legends, a situation where it's like this is a service game and they're
Yeah,
moving
100%.
back to
They're
the
calling it like
core
a
of the
forever
God,
game.
I just think this is like an HBO Max situation where like how much money was spent on that damn 2 in terms of marketing.
Yeah,
And we're
yeah.
just gonna go back to the old name.
And in terms, like building out like totally different SKU and like, different executable, right? Yeah, a lot of work, but
Well, A Realm We're Born was already taken, so
there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Overwatch is going back to just being Overwatch. And yeah, you're right, Eric. I did talk to some of the executives. It was in a group interview setting, so no one-on-one stuff. But they were kind of just speaking about, I don't think they necessarily are saying Overwatch 2 is a mistake, but they are saying this is where the game needs now, and we're going to. They did mention they are really their goals for Overwatch is to have it be like a return to form. Like that's kind of like their standard right now, and even in like this new narrative arc is called Reign of Talon. It kicks off February 10th. And it's all about how Talon, the villainous organization in the Overwatch universe, there's like a lot of internal conflict and there's like, kind of a coup happening inside for the leadership role of Talon. And so there will be in-game cinematics. They've said that it's like beginning, middle, end. Like this will all be in the launcher. You can see all the story happening in Overwatch, as well as like timed events, pick your side, who are you fighting for kind of thing, with themes of Talon versus Overwatch. And they're got a lot of the limited time events and stuff that are coming over the next year will fit into that theme. But alongside this first season of Reign of Talon, they're literally just calling it Overwatch Season 1. Very confusing, but it is, and internally when I'm interviewing them, they are clearly referring to the game as like, in 23 we want to do this. Like they're clearly referring to it as the real season number, but publicly having to talk about it as like season 1. Very confusing.
Yeah, it's like rebooting the narrative almost a little bit. Of like it's like Marvel Comics when they set issues back to number 1, but it's still continuing the narrative.
Yeah. And so they're doing that, but along with this first new season, they're launching 5 new heroes at once on February 10th.
Crazy.
It's a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
you used to be lucky to get 5 or 6 heroes a year, if that, and now you're getting 5 in one season, and they've committed to doing 1 hero per season for the rest of the year. They did say
So
we were
that's
asked
10 total, by the way.
10 total
So it's,
coming
it's
in
5 in the
2026.
launch and 5
How-
more over the course of the year.
I would love. Did you ask Alex, or did anyone in that room ask like how much of like Marvel Rivals influenced that decision of like, because they pump out characters so quickly, it's like
Yeah, they do.
like that is that just the way to go now? Like we got to keep up with that pace.
we didn't ask that specific question. I think there was people kind of referenced more so like League or Dota or like, as like having these massive rosters, right? And I don't have the exact quote on me, but in one of my talks, they were like, it's adding a new hero is like the most exciting thing you can do for players in Overwatch, and so they really want to get. They've also mentioned that like they have really over the last couple of years, not templatized, but like they have made new, faster ways and better tools to turn out heroes faster. And one of the critiques that they got that we brought up was like, hey, a lot of the heroes are kind of like they're all just kind of like hot humanoids, and they kind of mentioned how like going forward they think they have like they tackled Jetpack Cat, which is one of the new heroes, which is very much not a templatized character. And the reason that they have those templates to begin with is like when you're making cosmetics for a character, having all of your meshes and stuff fit well on the model, it's important. And so like as you introduce a new hero, you have to also promise to make more cosmetics for them. And so when those cosmetics are, more aligned, it makes sense to have some characters that are humanoids, but they do admit that like, I think actually folks asked, about Mama Wong, which is like a long rumored character, and Orangutan, which is like that they specifically mentioned like, yeah, we're kind of like, thinking about maybe going and checking that out now that we've kind of conquered an animal that isn't Winston. Like the new Jetpack Cat is just an animal, right? It doesn't speak. It has what they talked about, like one of the big challenges were the voice lines, because everything has to tie into the ping system and tie into like so many people play Overwatch without speaking because they just use the voice lines. And how do you make a real life cat? Like how do you make a cat that is like grounded and being a cat? How do you communicate all of those things that voice lines are supposed to communicate while still being, you're just meowing, right?
Wait.
And they spent a ton of time on that. And they said they like finally got it right. Where like, even though the cat's meowing, you can kind of tell like, oh, he's saying get on the payload or group up.
I guess
so. It's just like,
it's all meows,
all meows. But you learn like the inflection, the like, they've said like internal testing has like really given them a lot of confidence that like they are, able to like do those right.
I feel like that might be true for like cat people. I don't know if you're like not a cat person.
I'm a cat dad, and I'm giving you like a bit of a side eye right now. Like I don't know.
I assume it's a human voice actor.
Yeah.
Doing the cat sounds, which to me is like, I can understand how that could be.
You can add inflections and stuff.
I heard that's actually when I played. To me, I don't know why. That's so strange to me.
I thought they were doing like a Stray situation where they just recorded like a live cat.
That
just
would
got
make
different
more sense
inflections.
to me.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was a mute.
No, it's a voice actor being like meow meow meow.
So are they trying to sound like a real cat, or is the joke that it just sounds like a person? Like, is it like
it sounds like a real cat. I have played the game. I've played the character. Okay, they do a good job.
It's funny. We'll talk about it later.
I don't doubt the quality at work. I'm questioning the practice that got us here.
Okay, I was wondering if it would be like, we'll talk about it soon, but Mewgenics, they go the other way where the joke is like all the cats clearly are just a person doing like a poor cat imitation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I was just gonna say, like, the little hamster that's on the wrecking ball thing, I don't remember his name, but like it's around when I
through a robot
wrecking ball. Yeah, he's inside a robot and the robot talks.
Gotcha. That's where I kind of fell off Overwatch. I couldn't remember. It was like he didn't talk. Okay.
No, he communicates via the robot.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they're like, well, this character, we don't want just all of our animals to talk through robots, so let's come up with a system where, after you have played enough games with a Jetpack Cat on your team, you know what the call outs are. So even though they're in meows.
Do you remember the meow for let's push the payload?
No, I don't.
Can you imagine getting mad at a cat for bad comms? That's awesome. I'm like coming around on this.
Yeah. What does the trash talking meow sound like?
Oh man. Don't ask me. I don't know.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
probably.
that's pretty good.
But it was really cute at the beginning of the matches because I was like waving and saying hi to the person on my team that was the cat, and the cat's just going meow, meow. But it was cute. I was like, oh my god, this is great.
What's the hitbox in that cat? Because on paper it seemed like it'd be like a really small character and be like harder.
Well, no,
to
it's
hit.
a cat. He's on a flying contraption.
Oh, is that
He's
thing
on a
huge?
jetpack.
Because it looked like
It
it
is
was
relatively small, though, right?
Yeah,
did
it,
look
looked like, it didn't look
Yeah,
like
I mean,
way
his-
bigger than him.
His hitbox is small. Like he's a small character.
Okay.
Or she. Her name's Fika,
Okay,
which
yeah.
means like an afternoon nap or like a coffee. It's like a coffee nap, like kind of vibe, coffee break or something.
Okay.
What language?
In Finnish or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's cute. I like that.
Kiddish, actually.
Yeah, kiddish.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We're talking about a lot about the cat. There are 4 other heroes dropping next week.
But they're not cats, Alex.
That's
Yeah,
true. Yeah. Domina is a tank. And she puts out like astral, like, or not astral, hard light barrier. So think like a Reinhardt shield or you know, any of the other shield character, Ramatra, Sigma, but hers is a giant like horseshoe shape. So you can kind of like turtle yourself in some really fun ways. And then she's all about just like zone control, and she's a poke tank. She's cool. My favorite character from the bunch to actually play was Anran. She is the older sister of a character in the game that's already in there. He's a support named Wu Yang, and he's got like a water staff. And
Yeah.
so she's like the older sister, and she's all about controlling flames. And so she has a pair of fans that ignite people on fire, and after you get enough hits in, they catch on fire and have like a burn status. And then you can use your alt fire to fan a ton of like oxygen on the flames to deal extra damage. And she also has like her ult can be used dead or alive, and it changes based on context. So when she's alive, she like kind of does this big dive in and this AoE, explosion. But if you wait and you go in really hard and you die, and you kind of like goad the enemy team to being towards you, you can do you come back to life with an explosion, which is like a cool mechanic. I like kind of weaponizing your death. Death isn't always necessarily a bad thing, and I think it's cool to kind of
I've always said
bring
that.
that idea to Overwatch.
That's the opposite of a suicide bomb.
Yeah,
A resurrection bomb.
A life bomb. Yeah.
a life bomb.
Oh,
Yeah.
A
That's
love bomb.
It's my favorite DZ comic, the Unresurrection
bomb.
Squad.
Yeah.
But I like her a lot.
Resurrection Squad, that's good.
She's really cool. Emre is the one I think getting the most flack online because he literally just looks like a fanfic character. And he's like a shooter. He's got a burst rifle, and you can aim down sights, and then you can pull out his whole thing is he's like a living weapon. So he pulls out like this like burning hot pistol that is like kind of like part of him kind of. And when you have that pistol out for like 5 or 6 seconds, you run faster, you jump higher. You compare that with his grenade, which explodes after a bounce, and you can do grenade jumps to get to higher areas or to shoot over a tank that's blocking you, or kind of get a different angle. So he's a lot of fun. Reminds me of like Halo grenade jumps back in the day. And then his ult is he like turns into I think it's called the living weapon. And he turns into like because he goes like all cybernetic fiery stuff and shoots these giant bursts, and you can choose to either do really rapid bursts of his weapon, or you can do charge up shots and shoot like really big explosives. And then the last person we haven't talked about, well, we actually haven't really talked about Jetpack Cat and what she does.
Yeah, let's get back on that
before
cat.
Jetpack Cat. Yeah, before Jetpack Cat is Mizuki. Mizuki, he is a young ninja. He's a healer, and he has his kasa, like his big hat, like traditional Japanese hat that he throws, and it bounces between characters and heal them. And then when it returns to him, it heals himself.
So he's like
he's kind of like Lucio.
Kung Lao.
Yeah. He's kind of like Lucio, where he's got a healing aura around him, But unlike Lucio, where it's just kind of like static healing unless you do the healing boost, you have to Mizuki's resource has like a resource tied to his heals where it's almost like a multiplier, and you have to like stay in combat, stay healing your allies to keep his healing like power at max charge.
Right.
So he's got other abilities that like let him lock down enemies with like chains. And then his ultimate summons like a circular green barrier of sorts that heals enemies inside and deflects bullets and other projectiles from the outside. He's a cool character, and he's all about kind of what if a support had to, notably also his main weapon, you throw it and it bounces off of walls. So you can do like a lot of cool like tech stuff. But yeah, that's a Mizuki. And then yeah, Jetpack Cat is always flying, permanent flight. That's like their passive. And they can pick up and tow allies and enemies over the battlefield. Yeah, they're a lot of fun. A lot of shenanigans you can get up to. I didn't get a great, hands-on with Jetpack Cat and like a hands-on experience because we had no comms in our demo. So nobody was on mic. And then I'm playing with a bunch of people I don't know. So there's not really a lot of synergy happening.
Yeah,
and you can't just pick people up without their consent as Jetpack Cat. Unless it's an enemy and you're using your ultimate, then you like dive in. It's called Catnapper. You dive in, knock enemies back, and you drag one with you. And you can like lob them off the map or take them out of the firefight, like far away, so that, if they're a key, opponent, like a tank, you can just take them away. And it kind of disrupts the flow of battle.
Just like UFO abduct them and take them out.
Yeah. But you can do that to your allies, but they have to consent. So it's like you toggle this mode on and you go and I think it's called lifelink, and you go from first person to third person and you get kind of like a movement boost a bit. And then they have to elect to like grab on and latch onto you. And then you can be, you could have a Bastion turret flying in the sky, just bastioning people, or you can pick up a Reinhardt, let him go, and he can ult from midair from above people and come down. There's a lot of cool stuff. Diva ults, they were saying Diva can ult midair, and you can drop her on people.
That's crazy. The air Diva.
It's like the consent thing is probably healthier for the game, but part of me wishes that you could just grab your teammates without permission.
Yeah, I do.
That'd be kind of.
I do think like the problems are worth it for the moments. I would also be curious if you can do like Junkrat tires and things like that. If that counts.
I think
as like
so. I think
liftable
so.
Thing.
I know you can pick up Bob, Ash's Bob.
I think it
so
has,
she can.
Yeah, if you can pick up Bob, then you can probably pick up like Torp turrets and Junkrat tires and things like
potentially.
that. Potentially. Yeah.
We asked specifically about Bob. Nobody asked about turrets or Junkrat. But
I'm picturing the end of The Dark Knight Rises, but it's Jetpack Cat flying off with the Junkrat tire over the ocean.
Yeah. There is. What was I going to say? Shoot. It's about Jetpack Cat. In our session, I was speaking with a Japanese journalist with Famitsu, and he was saying in his session that there were two Jetpack Cats. It was like a mirror match. All of our matches were mirror matches because everyone was trying to play the same heroes.
Right.
But one Jetpack Cat used their ult to drag an enemy off the map, and another Jetpack Cat came in and saved their teammate with their and saved them.
Could you Jetpack Cat grab a Jetpack Cat?
I did.
Create
yes, you can.
To create a stack of grabs.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Oh, if they are
if they have your
there.
teammate grabbed, can you then grab the Jetpack Cat? And
I
then
think
pull?
so.
Can you like daisy chain Jetpack?
I think
cats,
so.
I guess. Yeah.
And then we need some others. We need like Roadhog to hook one of the cats to pull them in.
Yeah. So, there's also, they told us, they didn't tell us specifics, but there are like some big hero reworks coming later in the year alongside new maps and that kind of thing. And all of like the damage, tank support. They all have like passives right now, and those passives are getting even like further proliferated or distinguished rather by there are now a bunch of new sub roles and subclasses like within like tank has like or, I don't know the tank has like stalwart, they have initiator, and they have another one, and then like damage dealers have like flanker, sharpshooter.
Or Alex, if you want me to read them.
Sure, yeah, just real quick.
Yeah, tank is bruiser, initiator, stalwart. Damage is sharpshooter, flanker, specialist, recon. And the support is tactician, medic, and survivor. Cool.
Yeah, and each of those sub roles have a unique passive. And on the character select, rather than everyone just being grouped up in 3 buckets, they are now, those buckets kind of exist, but they are separated by, it's clearly denoted like under the characters, like these are the sharpshooters, these are the initiators, these are the flankers. And so you have like, if you're coming back to Overwatch, or if you're just like really trying to like figure out, okay, what role, what kind of play style am I in the mood for? Here's all those characters that kind of fulfill that. And so it's a nice quality of life, as well as it introduces new passives that are, pretty meaningful, and kind of just like further distinguish those kind of class identities from each other. So it's cool. And there's a bunch of UI updates and stuff. Like you can see your 3D model now in like the post screen and like on the homepage, instead of like everything just being like cards, and like they're like, you have collected these cosmetics, we want you to be able to see them outside of just certain screens or that kind of thing, or in emotes. So yeah, there's a lot coming with the game. It really does feel like they're making a big splash. It's this combined with last year's update that introduced Stadium, which is a really cool mode, and like a brand, like the fact that like they brought 6v6 back as like its own mode. It really does feel like I think they're getting close to that return to form that they're talking about. Aaron Keller was mentioned a lot in my interviews. He's kind of like the lead honcho on Overwatch, but folks were saying that like he came to people with like, I want to recreate that moment when we first revealed Overwatch, where you saw the lineup of characters and you're like, oh, what do they do? Who's that going to be? And like that like feeling of wonder. He's like, we wanted to do that with this season. And so they have shown off all the silhouettes of the characters that are coming this year. And only 5 have been revealed, but he's like, they were all talking about how like, that's a big goal. Like we want to like recreate that feeling and kind of like bring Overwatch back to like, to have it, give it a return to form. So yeah, it's exciting for somebody who spent years playing Overwatch. And I was even like not quite a defender of Overwatch 2 and what they brought, but I was like, I think it's getting a little blown out of proportion,
Sure. Yeah.
And I had eventually kind of fallen off, and I was like, okay, I'm not seeing a lot coming from this game anymore. And it's very clear that like the player base has dropped off, and like this really feels like a big swing to make a splash again and come back. And I think it's, if you used to play and you kind of thinking about maybe checking it out, like I think it's worth it now. I think it's worth people checking it out. So
that's kind of what I'm wondering. You notice about me, Alex, I'm not really a big competitive multiplayer guy, like at all. But like Overwatch was one of the few games that actually did genuinely hook me for like the first, I'd say like couple years. And then it kind of lost me towards the end as like pretty much like after Overwatch League started, and they kind of like started veering more and more kind of catering towards the super competitive side. Because what I liked about Overwatch was that it was competitive, but it didn't feel like overly competitive in those like first couple years. Like it just had like a really nice, pleasant vibe about it. Or it's like, oh, it doesn't really matter as much as I'm like maybe not doing as well as other people. They don't even tell you like KD or anything like that. And then like kind of like towards the end of Overwatch 2, it's like, oh, maybe this is I don't know, something about like that old, like almost like innocent magic. It's kind of like diminished and gone. And I don't know if I really want to engage with this anymore. I don't know if this could capture that again, because I think there's just been too much introduced that they to like retroactively kind of like scale back, and that seems like that would be counterproductive for like the majority of their fans.
I think that happens with a lot of multiplayer games. Is like the first few months, everyone's playing, especially like think of like an Apex or something. Like everyone's playing this game. A lot of like casual players. There's like a good mix, and like things are like very fun, and like you're still discovering the game. And then a year in, only the core, audience remains, and they are the ones who are wanting to get better at the game. And so the skill ceiling just continues to increase. And I find that happens with almost every competitive multiplayer game.
It is true. Go ahead, Eric.
I was just gonna say, like, I think there is something to that, especially the amount of content, because as cool as 10 new heroes sounds, that's also 10 new heroes on top of what's already in Overwatch that you might have missed while you were gone. So that's like a lot. And then there's also the fact that a lot of games like these, I mean, alongside the Overwatch 1 announcement and this new season 1 and all that, there was confirmation of new collabs and skins and cosmetics, and it's just a lot. And there was a simplicity about the original Overwatch launch, which at this point was a decade ago. So keep that in mind. But it was 10 years ago that Overwatch
that's
first
so
dropped.
weird to think that.
But there was a relative simplicity to the game at the time. But I also think there were, in a strange way, fewer guardrails, because I mean I've been on record that I never really like roll queue as an idea, and I know it's not necessary to play the game, but it does kind of start to define how those characters interact in a space when they are kind of put forward as like, okay, well, we're making a tank character and they have to fit the tank slot. So suddenly now the characters do have to fit within roles and within boundaries and within guardrails of what a position can be. So in some ways I am more interested now that it seems like they're kind of trying to, by adding more buckets for these characters to go and expand the idea of what those characters can be, rather than funnel them into tighter categories of what they should be. But that all remains to be seen. I am interested in this. I will say, it's as somebody who put a lot of hours into probably 2016 to 2019 Overwatch, I would say. It sounds really, really cool. And I like that they're taking a big swing at it, if nothing else, because I think that's what you have to do with this game, is you have to come in and say, we're really trying to just top down, revitalize, revamp this thing, and taking the 2 off is a big step in that direction. But I am curious, because there's a lot of, I mean, hero shooters come and go fast. I mean, we cut some discussion of them from this like episode because we are so topic heavy already, but there's High Guard, there's the new Deadlock update, there's so many other hero shooters that come and go, or even shooter adjacent games like Arc Raiders that come and go, that can Overwatch stay afloat, I think is the bigger question. Is maybe this makes a splash, maybe people come back. Do they stick to it? Do they keep playing to season 2? Do they keep doing this? And that's my big question mark here.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Overwatch. I'm excited to check out the characters. They're coming out next week. And if I dive in, I'll be sure to let people know what I think. But I say we move on. We still have 2 more games we want to talk about. Charles, I want to hear about Mewgenics. Yeah. This has been a long time coming.
That it has. This was I can't remember the scenario, but I looked in an old Game Informer magazine to cross-reference some kind of thing and found that like editor-in-chief Matt Miller had written a feature on the game in like 2013 or something. It's like it should be out by 2014, and it was
first announced in 2012.
Okay, yeah. Mewgenics, if you don't know it, is a new game from Edmund McMillan.
Edmund
McMillan. Who is known for The Binding of Isaac, Super Meat Boy, and it has that same kind of art style. It is a roguelike, like a strategic RPG, where it is a grid-based, think like Fire Emblem, think 100 Line, think one of those sorts of games.
And real quick, Charles, before you go, just to credit him, it's Edmund and Tyler Glale as development partner.
Tyler Glale. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because they made the End Is Nigh together. So this is like I think their second major project together. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. So you have a party of 4 cats every run, and they've got kind of like typical fantasy classes. It kind of branches out a little bit from that, but you'll have like a tank that has a lot of health, and you'll have a fighter that does more damage focused. You'll have a cleric who heals people. And I've been playing it. The review embargoes today. I will have a review in progress because I've not beaten the game because it's massive. I am enjoying it, but the like Steam page estimates 200 plus hours to beat this game.
Oh my god!
When I did the preview for this game, I played well over a dozen hours of it, and I interviewed Edmund and Tyler about it. And at the time that I had started speaking to them, they had not beaten the game yet. Like because I had given pretty much a content complete build, and they were just polishing. And they said that they had put in roughly 200 hours or so, and they kept stressing like you are barely scratched the surface of what this game is from what you've played, which was saying a lot because I really liked what I played at the time, and they're like, oh, it hasn't even like really opened up yet.
So take us through like the anatomy of a run. So it is a turn-based RPG. You have 4 cats. What does a run look like in Mewgenics?
So starting off, when you get later into the game, you'll get to pick which act you want to play. So right now I have Act 1 and Act 2. I know there's at least also an Act 3. And you'll start off in whatever the starting area is. So in Act 1, you start off in the alley. And then there's a little map, and it just has some like events and combat encounters you go to. It's pretty typical of a roguelike if it's like, oh, you'll start off and there's a combat, and then you can pick, do you want to go to the treasure chest or do you want to go to the question mark icon? And it'll be like the treasure chest will give you an item. The question mark icon will be some kind of event that's like a skill check for your cats because all your cats have different stats. So it'll be like you can roll charisma to convince this person to join your party, or you'll roll constitution to not take damage from this thing, etc. And they're all very ridiculous creative. I have maybe gotten the same one a few times, but some of them are very rare. Right before I was playing this, there was one, God, I don't even know what the manga's called, but where it's the guy, I think it's a Junji Ito maybe, where everyone has a hole that's shaped like them.
Yeah, the Amigara Fault. This is my hole it was made for me.
Yeah, I had a cat that had to roll intelligence to resist going into a hole that was shaped just like it. That's like an example of just this. And like the way this game goes, fully possible cat would have gone there, I would have lost him forever. Like it's very crazy, very swingy. So you'll go through that. There's like a mid area boss, end of area boss, and then you'll get a branching path, and each act has 2 routes. So the alley, you can go from the alley into the sewers, into the caves, or you can go from the alley into the junkyard, into the graveyard. And the way it works is once you unlock a biome for the first time, you have to beat it, then go home, and then you unlock the next one. So to get through all of Act 1, it's a minimum of 5 runs, because you got to beat up to the farthest spot and then come back.
Okay. Okay.
I'm currently in Act 2, and I have both routes fully unlocked, but I haven't beaten either of those routes yet. And yeah, I mean, the base impressions of the game, it's very fun. I like it a lot. I played like 50-something hours of it at this point.
Damn.
It is very dense. There's a lot of variation. I have 9 classes right now. Every time you pick a class for your cat, you get a randomly generated starting like passive ability and like active ability. So there's some things that they'll always have in common. But there's other things where and then the basic attack is the same for every class. Like the cleric always has a melee attack that can heal allies but hurt enemies. But then it might get one where it can heal ranged allies, or it can cure debuffs, or it'll purify something. I don't know. There's so many stuff. And combat itself is very there's rare. I don't think I've had an encounter in this game where it's like, oh, okay, I can coast by on this one. Like I don't have to pay attention to this one.
Yeah.
Because it's always like you'll not pay attention to something, or a roll will go like you'll miss something that you got to hit, and then all of a sudden, I just had one boss I fought where, just to give an example of how crazy all these systems that interact are. I have a tinkerer, which is like a artificer class that like builds equipment and stuff. When I walk with him and land on a space, he does electric damage in a T shape of everyone around him, which is very inconvenient, but sometimes nice for boss fights. I have a tank who automatically attacks anyone that hurts an ally. He'll like walk 3 steps and then attack them, which means that if my tinkerer walks up next to one of my allies, it'll zap that ally, and then my tank will run over and hit my tinkerer. And if it's really crazy, the tinkerer will
It's
slide
like cats
back.
like pawing at each other and fighting each other.
Yeah. If the tinkerer is in a really bad position, he'll slide back, zap a different cat because he's moved again, and then my tank will hit him again. So it's kind of like nonsense like that. You have to
But
mitigate.
can I add- can I add-
I just did one where the boss automatically attacks when you attack it, and they got in a crazy chain that I was like, I'm just gonna go hit it once, and then ended up with like the half of the boss's health was down, but then also like one of my cats was down, and it's just like it can get very chaotic if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, I had a thing where I don't know if it's the same boss as an early boss, Charles, but it was like a boss where every time you attacked it, he automatically advanced on the unit that attacked it last. And
Yeah.
I had because you're also like these cats have like randomly assigned abilities as well as like defects, quote unquote. So like disadvantages that could be used to your advantage if you're clever. But I had an ability where I basically could spawn like my own little ads, and because the nature of this boss, I had it set up to where I had the ads attacked and he would like advance towards the ads, and I had
It's like
two
ads. What is ads?
like a little unit,
Additional
like a little
unit.
AI.
Oh, additional.
Yeah, additional.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha,
yeah. I had 2 cats that could do that. And so I had them, and because this boss is like huge and he takes up like most of the kind of like square playing field, so he doesn't really have to move very far to kind of get to the edge of it. I arranged my cats in like each of the 4 corners, and then had the 2 of them with the ads on opposite sides. And basically, he kept getting hit by my little AI buddies and would advance towards another cat. But then I had the other 2 cats had Overwatch style abilities, so he was always within the Overwatch. So he was pretty much just
moving
getting
constantly.
yeah, like constantly moving, but like couldn't do anything, and basically like without me really doing much. And I didn't plan for that. I just happened to have those abilities because I rolled them, and it just worked out perfectly. And I remember telling Edmund,
That's
like
awesome.
describing this fight to Edmund. He's like, I've never seen that boss get beat like that. He's
Yeah,
like,
because I couldn't do that if I tried, because that's a crazy coincidence that you got that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like he was just like, but that was kind of like to his point of like, because it's so systemic, like no run unfolds the same way, like no individual battle unfolds the same way, because it just depends on what you have on you and just what the bosses can do and how those systems interact with each other.
Even in the we have a little Discord just for members of the press that are reviewing the game.
Okay.
There's moments where people will be like, hey, I found this thing where if I have this item equipped and this thing going and this thing going, I have an infinite attacking glitch where I can kill any unit instantly with 1,000,000 attacks. And they were like, I guess we'll patch that. Just like I
Don't
never
patch that.
occurred
That
to me
sounds
those things could do
awesome.
it. I don't know if they're patching it or not, but they were like, it just happens to work out that it's
Yeah.
Anyways.
I guess this is how common that could happen. Like if you got, how common would it be for those stars to align? Yeah.
This sounds like so incredibly up my alley. I fear for all future time that I would have spent sleeping or doing human things.
And you can play it forever, is because it's so
Yeah.
freaking long. The other things I want to mention are, before I forget, the music is really good.
Yes. Love the
Every
music.
area has its own backing track, and then when you get to the final boss of the area, they add in vocals, and you realize the whole time the song has had lyrics, and you just haven't got to hear them yet.
And the lyrics are really funny.
They're pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the in between runs, you have a house with all your cats in it, and every time you go to sleep, the cats will like breed and make new cats. You'll gather new strays that come in. And then
There's the
various
Mewgenics then. Okay.
Yeah, there's various vendors. So yeah, called Mewgenics, like eugenics, as in you're gonna breed the cats for the best traits. I have already made the decision that I'm like, if any cat has a negative health score, I am just not going to use them, because health is like so hard to come by. I'm just like, so I have basically, anytime I get a cat with a subpar health score, I instantly donate it to one of the like vendors you can donate to, or I specifically just don't let them breed with other cats. Like that's how I'm rolling.
Also, can we mention that the breeding, the little cinematic that plays, like you are straight up watching these cats like bang each other in a way that is quite funny, but also there's like a lot of like secondhand embarrassment potential of someone walking in on you as you're like watching these cats get it on, and you're like, what are
There's
you
like
doing?
a Twitch mode, right? Like there's like a little thing
So-
you can flip.
Yeah, so I have two main hurdles with this game. One of them is I personally don't think it's very funny, and it tries very hard to be funny. There's a lot of, so for example, the cats breed every night, and there's just a humping animation, and I just don't want to watch animated cats hump.
And then,
I
and then
think
they
it's
give
funny.
birth like immediately. Like you just see them like
Yeah.
little fetus just pop out.
I think it's funny to say now. I think it's funny because it is a shocking thing that's like, oh my gosh, these cats are humping. That's crazy. 50 hours into the game, I am sick of it. There is an option in the menu, though, where you can just turn on like safe humping animations. And I like them a lot more because they've done a few of them where it's like, how would two cats have a babies that isn't humping? It would be like, oh, they summoned a demon and it was their kitten, or oh, a cat stork came and delivered them a kitten. Those are like,
that's
I think
cute.
those are more funny because they're
That's
like
more creative.
They're creative. They subvert
Yeah.
your expectations rather than like the same cat humping animations every time. I just don't like that. Another thing I don't like is like, personally, not crazy about poop jokes. Again, it's a thing that's like, if it's out of nowhere, I can the humor is often just comes down to surprise and subverting expectation. So if it's like you think it's going to be a clean thing and there's poop, haha, funny, whatever. There are poop enemies of multiple sizes. There's several poop-based abilities. There's several fart-based abilities. There's one defect called scatological, where if there's poop on the battlefield, your cat
That's good.
Your cat has to go to it and eat it.
Oh god.
Just a thing that I'm just like,
that's very Binding of Isaac.
it is.
Like
It
that-
is.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
it's a thing that I'm like, I don't love it. I don't think
it
it's
does
like,
make sense since this game has been in development for over what
Off and on
13
for
years.
Are you
off
saying
and on.
poop jokes are so
Technically-
2012?
Yeah, like
Yes,
technically
I am.
this version of the game has been in development since 2020, if we want to be really technical. But
Yeah, but
So yeah, so it's just a thing I don't find particularly funny, and it's kind of like a personal taste thing. But
that's fine.
and then also like the dialogue that the NPCs say, I feel like is trying so hard to be funny, and a lot of times it feels like a first pass at a joke that like they could have. I don't know, and that's all my taste. That's one of the things that's keeping me from like really loving the game. I'm like, if you just tried to be funny a little bit less, or tried to be gross a little bit less, I'd be more on board.
have you played other like Edmund McMillan games? Like, do you just? Not,
I'm
I'm
I
sure.
have
Like,
not
do you like
played
his
a-
humor? Like,
Binding of Isaac is the one I have played a little bit of, but not like a ton of. And yeah, I'm
Meat-
not.
Meat
It's
Boy.
not really my style of thing, really.
no, that's fair. I was just wondering. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is that, and it's a hurdle again. It's more of a personal preference than like a slight on the game, but is very much not. It does not take the modern roguelike sensibility of every failure is progress. It is very much like if you lose, it is a failure and you're going to lose progress. If you die, your inventory is cleared out, all your cats die. You can pick like
So like a
little
proper
bit-
roguelike.
It is, yeah, a little more proper. You can pick like one item or some coins or whatever, but it creates this thing where if you die a lot, you'll get in these like losing feedback loops where after a while you'll like have basically no cats in your house because they all died, and you don't
You
have
can't
any
watch the
items.
hump animation anymore.
Yeah, you can leave a run after beating a biome, which is I think what I would do if I gotten like I had a thing where I lost like 4 runs in a row, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I need to just take a different approach. But what I would do is I would just beat one biome or beat 2 biomes and then come back rather than dying to the same spot every time, because the items make a huge difference. These are like you get
Got
like a neck piece, a head piece, I don't know, a weapon, just a bunch of stuff that'll like adjust your stats, give you more abilities. You can make really good builds and stuff out of this. Just having a full inventory of items to equip to all your cats is like the difference between easy mode and hard mode, basically. Like,
Yeah,
it
like
can get you set up so much better.
Yeah, because
So
your cats
this
can have
is-
different gear pieces, like head pieces
Yeah.
and like chest pieces. Like you can really kit them out.
I'll
This
tell you
like
now,
really reminds me of Darkest Dungeon in a way. Is
Sure.
it kind of structured like that, where you still have a foundation that you're building up, and you're going out and you're coming back on runs, and sometimes you can lose a lot of resources that you've invested, and you need to like do some smaller runs and build those resources back up to attempt the longer runs?
Yeah, it's similar to that. I would say it's less.
Okay.
Yeah, the resources in this case, being cats and gear.
Yeah.
When you win a run, your cats come home and they're like retired cats. You can't take them on a run again, but they can breed with other cats, and like if they have good stats, they can like pass those on and stuff. What else was I gonna say? A good example of like when gear can really make a difference is Act 2. The first area is the desert, which is tough because every combat encounter after you finish the run, your cats heal a little bit based on like their constitution score. So they'll heal like, if they've got like a max HP of like 24, they heal like 6 or something like that. In the desert, it's really hot and nobody heals automatically. And also all heals are reduced by 1. So the first place you're in, it's way harder. But if you have a bottle of water, then it mitigates that for that encounter. So you heal a little bit and then you can heal up at the end of a run. You can buy bottles of water in the desert. So the strat to do is do a run just through the desert, buy bottles of water specifically to do that, and then the next time you go run, all of your cats have water they can drink, so you can manage your health a lot better. And then I have an item right now that it's like a hose that puts a streak of like a river down the middle of a map, and if you step in that with an empty bottle of water, automatically gets filled up. So there's stuff like that where it's like there's always a strategy to work around, there's always another way to play, but it is not a Hades or I don't know. There's not like XP you're slowly building up to be like, now my cats are all a little bit better because
like a
I've done
rogue
enough
legacy
runs.
or something like that.
I guess because you're only taking them out once. Like I said, like a cat can only do a full run once and then they retire. Yeah.
If you win one of the paths with a class of cat, it permanently unlocks a new ability that goes into the pool, which is cool. One of my favorite classes is the druid. You start off with a crow familiar, and then you have a bunch of like support abilities, which is cool. And I beat one of the routes as it, and I unlocked a bear familiar, so I can just summon a bear, and it's massive, and it's really good and cool.
I really want to play this game.
I
good.
Badly want to play this game right now.
Yeah. Let me in.
Yeah, I probably won't beat the game when I write the review. I think I just want to make sure I've played all of the biomes at the very least, like gotten into Act 3 properly. I don't think I'm going to do a whole 200 hours because I think I'll probably, once I see Act 3 and what it is, I'll have a more firm idea of like my grasp on the game overall. But yeah, it's a great game. I mentioned my caveats with it, but I think this is going to be one of those games that people get really into, sink a lot of time into, and it's definitely one that I think as a staff, Game Informer should be looking out for.
Yeah, like I really enjoyed what I played of it when I did the feature in the game, and like I said, I put a good amount of time in it, and just knowing like, that's like nothing compared to like what the full scope of this game is was like exciting and intimidating at the same time. It also has made me grateful that this comes out so early in the year, because I have like in terms of just pure like end of year discussions, it's like, okay, I got this full year to get through. What is a very
it also
large
seems
game.
like a game that'll run great on Steam Deck.
Thank you for mentioning that. So I have it on Steam Deck. It does run well. It runs better than it does on my computer, actually. I don't have a great computer. The one thing with it is that it is not it's not like built for a controller. So you can use the controller, you can use the joystick to like navigate a cursor around, but it's not like when you would just move the joystick and you would be able to like select squares or like just scroll like you would in an Xbox menu.
Sure.
That said, I've played a lot of it on the Steam Deck, so it's fine. But that's just how it is.
I know Edmund mentioned controller support was something that they were looking into at the time that I talked to, as well as like other platforms, because this game is only coming out at PC at launch.
Gotcha.
So, hopefully at least controller support isn't too far down the line, but it is something that they are like investigating, I guess.
Yeah, to be clear, it works perfectly fine with controller. It's just not like optimized for it.
Just clicking. You're just clicking cats in command. So
totally. Well, cool. Well, Marcus, do you want to kind of take us home? Nioh 3 before we get out of here?
Speaking of, I don't know, surprisingly long games that I haven't finished yet and I had to write a review in progress of. Nioh 3, This game, spoiler alert, so far I have not finished it, but it is very good, and I'm having a good time with it. As someone that I've played a lot of the previous two Nioh games, but believe it or not, I never finished them. And not because really any of the games, I just for whatever reason, because I never had to play them for like work reasons. They were always just for like on my own leisure. And then I always got kind of pulled away from them from other things. And I always wonder, like, I don't know, I like these games, but is it missing something where I haven't just felt compelled to go back and just like finish them off? Whereas with this game, within the first like few hours, I would say, I already came to the, like, my biggest metric for playing anything for work, but especially for a review, is if I were not obligated to play this, would I keep playing it? And I already knew it was like 100% yes, this is really good. So this is like, what I appreciate about this game is that it's much different than Nioh 1 and 2, because I think with the Nioh series and sort of like Nioh adjacent games that Team Ninja has done, is that they've all kind of followed the Nioh blueprint, like whether you're looking at like Wulong or to a somewhat lesser extent, Rise of the Ronin, where it is the kind of like, you know, like faster paced Souls-like game that's really loot heavy and really systems heavy, like a lot. It's like a very number crunchy series, like even more so than like From Software Souls likes, because there's so much loot that you're managing, and it's like they throw loot at you constantly, so you're always in the menu being like, okay, what's the difference between this sword and an identical sword? Because it's not just, oh, the attack's higher, but they all have like individual like traits where you're like, oh, this one makes my stamina go faster, but then this one really enhances this magic spell that I like to use, so maybe I should use that. And then trying to figure out like what's a good combination of the loot to kind of like emphasize whatever build that I'm trying to make. And also your main there's like 12 different main weapons you can use, and they all have their own individual sort of like move sets. Like it's one of those games that, like, the sickos of Nioh, when you really want to dive into it, there's so much to like chew on. This game is still that, but what I like is, one, they give you sort of like almost doubling down on that, is that you have a new style. Like, they have like styles now where you have samurai.
Are these like stances kind of?
No, it's pretty much like you just turn into a different character. It almost feels like.
Oh.
So like you have samurai style, which is the traditional Nioh gameplay experience where you have 4 weapon stances, like high, medium, low, and, you know, regardless of which of the like dozen weapons you can use, but it's a lot like a little slower, a little heavier, a little bit more deliberate combat. And then with the press of a button, you can swap to the new ninja style, where you just turn into just a straight up shinobi, and it changes the playstyle dramatically, because now you're a lot faster. It's focused more on evasion than just blocking, like the samurai style. Instead of the kind of like key pulse, which in Nioh is sort of the like basically you can recharge your stamina early with a timed button press while you're in the middle of a combo. Like that's kind of always kind of defined the Nioh combat. Whereas the shinobi, instead of doing that, you have this thing called mist, which is basically just this like really quick evade that positions you behind the enemy, because the ninja does better damage when you attack people from behind, like really good backstab damage. So like the rhythm of combat with the ninja is that you're doing these crazy fast-paced combos, and then every now and then hitting miss, so that you're just constantly shifting behind them. So they're always trying to like hit you, but you're always just like outmaneuvering them. And it feels really good to do that, especially for me, because I generally prefer faster paced characters in action games, or really any game in general. If you give me the option, like I prefer like mobility to like strength. So because of that, I've like the ninja class or style, whatever you want to call it, is like basically my default style. Like I still use the shinobi style, because there's times where it's, you know, depending on the enemy, it's like maybe I need a little bit more of a deliberate power focused approach. But I found that the ninja style is, for my play style, works well. And what's nice about Nioh 3, and I asked this of the directors when I did the preview, is that if you wanted to, you could play this entire game with only one style. Like, they're designed to where, like, we're not going to force you to pick one or the other. There isn't like a boss fight where you're like, okay, this is clearly a ninja boss fight. It's purely to your preference, which plays into what Nioh as a series has always done really well, is kind of giving you an overwhelming amount of agency to kind of tackle the game however you want. So the two styles each have their own independent loadouts, which is a lot, because like I mentioned before, Nioh is such a loot heavy game where you're equipping your character head to toe and every piece of equipment. So now you have like 2 different ones. So like when you swap to Ninja, he has his own chest armor plate, his own weapon sets, his own items, and then you know, so you can have basically 2 different builds at the same time. So it is more the manage between the 2. But what is nice is that if you're someone like me that like is in the middle ground of like, yeah, there's sometimes I want to go in there and really look at the minutiae of what this chest plate offers, but other times it's just like, I don't want to stay in this menu too long. I want to get back out there and cool stuff. There's a button that you can hit where you can auto like kind of like optimize, but you can optimize based on, do you want a light build? Do you want a heavy build? Do you want a medium build? And then whatever gear fits in that will just give you the best versions of what you have to give you that. So if you want a fat roll, we'll give you the best fat rolling items. If you want to be as light as possible, based on what you have, this is going to give you the best light like option that you have available to you. So I use that a lot. And then for like little things, it only affects your armor. Your weapons, you still have to independently choose, but that's fine. That's only like 2 slots and your ranged weapon. But yeah, the ninja style is so much fun, guys. It is like, I have my ninja with like dual swords right now, and I'm like flipping around, like slicing people like Leonardo and Ninja Turtles. And I've unlocked, so like each style has like individual skill trees that have kind of like, you can unlock new inherent abilities, which for the ninja is their ninja tools and their ninja like magic. So instead of the 4 stances that I mentioned for the samurai style, for the ninja, it's just this litany of ninja tools that you could equip there. So it could be like shurikens, kunai, or it could be like magic, like
kunai with chains.
There is a kunai with chain, like main
kunai
weapon.
With chain.
He popped me with a Yu-Gi-Oh reference I wasn't expecting. Or like I have one where like my guy like will punch the ground and like a wall of rocks will pop up, and it's used, you can use it to like block enemies as they charge at you. They'll just run into the rock wall and get stunned, and then you can like wail on them or like stop projectiles. Like there's a lot to play with, and you can customize the button inputs as well for everything that you do. So this game, and which Ninja Gaiden also lets you do, where you can kind of like turn off button inputs. So like you can have this game be as complicated or as simple as you want. If you just want this to be a game where you just want to hit triangle and square over and over, and that's it, then you could do that. But if you want it to almost feel like more like a fighting game, where you're like, oh, what is my down triangle gonna do? Because there's like 3 different moves I can assign to down triangle. Like you can just literally just build your character to do exactly what you want them to do. And it is a lot of menu management, but I think if you sit down and take the time to really look at like, okay, I just unlocked this other new ability, and they always give you the little video preview clip of what it does, and you go like, ooh, that looks cool, and that might actually go well with this other ability to have. Like I could probably chain these 2 together. You can do that. One of my favorite moves I have is one of my like jumping down attacks is this like helicopter blade thing with my dual swords, where like he'll just like my ninja, she'll jump up and then just spin her blades around and just come down like a helicopter and just like chop everyone underneath, and it's really fun to pull off. So the ninja styles. Oh, go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, would you say that this is then for like the Nioh sickos? Like this is for
100%.
somebody who's played a lot of the Nioh games and really wants that kind of expanded tool option, or you think it feels approachable enough that like the 3 shouldn't scare off a newcomer?
I mean, it is for the Nioh sickos, because that stuff has always kind of been there, but it's just like blown up even more here. But in terms of like purely narrative, this is like an independent thing. Like there's no there's minimal connection to the other 2 games outside of a few characters that like, oh, that guy was in Nioh too. But even then, they have like a really nice glossary that has like complete summaries of the first 2 games if you want to read those. As well as like, here's all these characters, here's what they do, here's their history. But like, by and large, you don't need, like, they made it a point to be like, you do not need familiarity with those 2 games to play this. And a lot of that, I think, is because it's also a time travel story, which seems to be a thing this year between this and Code Vein. It's like, let's make Souls like, where you're jumping around periods of time. The other big thing with Nioh 3 that I really love is that it is not open world. I believe their official term is open field.
Open field, open zone, that sort of thing.
Yeah, like every era of history has its own special or own individual map that is gigantic, and the map is divided into different regions, and pretty much you can spend upwards of like 15 to 20 hours if you really wanted to uncover everything in an individual map, and there seems to be several of them, or at least 3 maybe.
So it kind of gives you that open world feeling, but they're just not connected.
They're not connected, but they're big enough to where like one map would be a full game in a different. Yeah,
that's open world. I don't think.
Well,
they
listen,
that. Like people said, Assassin's Creed 2 is like open world, and you're warping between different cities that are all open. But I think they don't need to put a caveat on it. I would just say unequivocally that's open world.
I think it's more like by today's definition, because Assassin's Creed 2, I think at the time that was open world, but like now we would be like, well, it's not all connected, so I don't know. But yeah, I agree with you, Charles. Whereas like these maps are big enough to where like even if they're not all like I can't go. And it's really because of the premise, because like, well, one map is set 500 years before this other map, so I guess I couldn't just walk over there. But like, they're big enough to where they feel like open world. You are just wandering freely. You don't.
Yeah, you're uncovering secrets. You can exploring.
Well, this is like a good rainy day topic for us, I think, because I would say that I agree with you all to a point, but then also games like Elden Ring or Breath of the Wild that basically said it's one giant thing you can get from here to there, or like Skyrim as another example. You can get from here to there, you can see it, you can climb it, kind of like reconfigured what we thought of open world as, and led to a lot of explaining stuff like Pokemon Legends Arceus is open zone, even though it's also very open world in the way it's approached. So that might be a good rainy day topic for us. Is like what is open world really?
And some of it's semantics too, but
totally.
Ultimately, the way that Nioh's open world works, I really like, and I'm struggling to think if I've seen another game tackle an open world like this, because it is like the perfect middle ground between the overly guided, overly icon heavy maps of a stereotypical Ubisoft game, we'll say, and the Breath of the Wild Elden Ring approach of we're not gonna tell you anything. It's just go out there and see what you find and have fun. Where when you enter a new area, like the map is blank. Like you pull up the map, it doesn't tell you anything. It's just shrouded. All you see is like the main objective icon in some random direction.
Sure.
But there are exploration rewards where the more you uncover on your own, you're ticking off these little objectives where it's like, oh, you found this many shrines, which are like your fast travel save points, or you found this many, I don't know, chests or like enemy camps. Well, now because of that, we're going to give you little passive stat boosts to like, hey, if you uncover this much of the map, you're going to have +2 attack for the rest of the time that you're here. And in a game that's as hard as this, that's like incredibly valuable. And then it's like, but if you get to like tier 2 of exploration, we're going to give you +4 defense. And also we're going to gradually reveal icons on the map, but only the items that you were in the vicinity of, but you missed. So it's like, hey, you were in a little town and you found like 3 Kadama spirits, but you missed the 4th one. Well, if you uncover more of the map on your own, we're going to tell you where that 4th one was, if you would like to double back and just go get it. And I love that because it's sort of like, it's not telling you where to go. Like you're still sort of like finding things on your own. But also by the time you filled up enough of the map and you're probably ready to move on, if you're a person that just like is a completionist and you're like, oh, I want to just go get the things I didn't find on my own, you'll look at the map and all of a sudden it's like full of all the icons. Like, oh man, I guess I missed all those when I was there the first time. So now I can just fast travel back to a town and just go, do cleanup. And I think that's really cool. Like, and also because you're also getting the stat bumps of like, oh, I got +2 attack, I got +4 defense. Like you're improving your character just by exploring. Like it is like such a strong hook to just go find things, because again, this game's hard because these games are hard. And so like any advantage I can get in battle helps. And that's like one of only like several systems that are all designed to like make your character stronger, because you also have you have your normal progression of like, killing enemies, earning experience, leveling up, putting whatever experience points into like your stats, like, oh, I want, more stamina, more health, more, I don't know, intellect. And depending on the weapon your type you use, it'll make you better with that weapon. And you'll see down there like, oh, I'm using dual swords, and my dual swords, I go up when I pump it into intelligence. So maybe I'll focus on that. But also you have titles where it's basically like doing little feats, and then so it's like I don't know, like Ninja and Shinobi have their own title category. So to be like, hey, you stealth killed 10 enemies. Here's some points to go into your ninja feats. And then when you put points into your ninja feats, there's like 4 things you can put points into to be like, hey, when you dodge now, it takes up less stamina. Or when you attack in the air, it does more damage. It's like stuff like that. And then there's like multiple categories of those based on combat and exploration. And so like you're earning those passively in the background too, just by doing things.
That's fun. Yeah.
Do those feel significant? Like you're doing more damage in the air? Is it like, 5% more damage in the air? Or is it like, I can...
Oh, yeah. It feels like it to me, especially if it's something that you use a lot, which again goes back to how you decide to build your move set of like, I got this really cool air move that I do find myself using a lot. So maybe I do want this to do like any bit more damage it's like welcomed. But also it's stuff like item drops and equipment drops. You can raise the percentage on how often that happens through your titles, or like, elixirs, which are basically your Estus flags or flasks. Like, I can increase the drop rate of those, or I can increase the healing effectiveness of those just by doing things. So you're earning those. You're also finding, God, there's so much to get into with this game. There's also your I mentioned before the skill trees that you have for both your inherent traits as a ninja and samurai, but also every weapon has their own skill trees tied to it. So this is very much a game where you need to pick 1 or 2 weapons and stick with them, because you have to learn your weapons. So in the beginning, and every Nioh game has been like this, where in the beginning where you choose your weapon, they give you a chance to kind of pick each one up, swing it around a bit, see if you like the feel of it, and then kind of go from there. You'll always have access to every weapon because every enemy drops every weapon, so you can change anytime. And what's nice is that you can respec anytime with no cost. So if you get really invested in like a regular, katana, and then you pick up a weapon where you're like, I got this like chain sickle thing, that's super fun, and then you realize I'm just using this and I'm not really using the samurai sword anymore, I'm gonna respec all my points that I put into that, and I'm just gonna put them all into the cool chain thing, because I think this is my new thing now. And you can do it as many times as you want, and I've done that multiple times. I've just kind of been sampling the different weapons and seeing what I want to stick with.
Cool.
So you can dig into that. You can also unlock like passive abilities with like another thing that I'm trying to remember the name of it, but basically the ninja and samurai have their own sort of like ability meter, where you have these sort of like passive perks that you can turn on as many as you want if you have enough of a meter left. So like each passive perk takes up a portion of the meter. So like if your meter's 10 points and you have like an ability that takes up 5 points, then you've used up half your meter. And you can find items that raise the limit of this meter that are like worth their weight in gold, and they're all over the place. You find them in chests, sometimes enemies drop them. But again, it's another thing that incentivizes you to be like, I probably want to open every chest, because if I find another thing that raises the cap of my ninja skills, I want that. Because then a lot of the cool passives, there are like some cool ones where like there's one that's like, hey, every time you dodge it, you're fighting yokai in these games, and when they summon them in the Nioh games, they sometimes leave like a little, basically like demonic field, where if you're fighting them in this demonic field, it makes your stamina, it makes it tougher to regenerate, so you'll get tired faster. And the only way to dissipate that is to do your key pulse move in it, which again is like the time sort of like button press to replenish your stamina. But with the ninja, it's like, one of the perks I turned on was, hey, if you just do a basic dodge while in there, it'll get rid of that field, so you don't have to do the like harder button press. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna have that on all the time. And it's like basically things that are designed to sort of like break the game's rules a bit. So if you can like just finding not only more of those skills, which again, you find those just from chests, enemies, whatever, on top of the thing that raises the quota, so you can have more of those unlocked. Like you're like, I want to look everywhere and find these, because I'm finding some like wild stuff that I could have easily missed. So it is like one of the most rewarding sort of like open world experience I played before, because it feels like everything you're rewarded constantly for just looking around, and it feels like like everything is out to make you better in some way. And it's a really nice compliment to like how tough the enemies are. But also, I would say this is probably the most approachable Nioh game for the reasons that Elden Ring is like the most approachable Souls game, in the sense that if you hit a wall, you just go somewhere else. Yeah.
Right.
You're like, and
cool.
Yeah. And also every map area tells you like recommended level too. So if you go to a region, they're like, okay, my main mission's in this region. It's saying maybe you want to be 57 if you're here, which is like a loose number because it sort of depends on like not only just the level, but like how good you are, which is what I not like. Like you can do a degree of like number grinding, but you still have to like read patterns. And like I've had bosses kill me that were technically lower level than me because they just outfoxed me. So you still have to like learn your class, learn your weapons, figure out how to counter, like all that stuff still matters on top of just I have higher numbers than you. But yeah, and there's other systems I haven't even touched on. I know we're running out of time because there's like side quests, there's blacksmithing quests. There's so much in this game.
Lot.
There's a lot. And there's always a lot with Nioh. It is a dense series.
Let's boil it down then. If you are like a Souls fan, if you're a person who likes a Souls game and you're looking at Nioh 3, like what would you say would be the thing that puts it over? Like what is the reason to come to Nioh 3 if you've played Elden Ring or something and you're interested in this? What is the X factor that defines it?
I would say combat wise, and I would say this is true of the Nioh series in general, if you like a faster paced Souls like, Nioh has always been great for that. Like Nioh was one of the first like non-From Software Souls likes that were good. Like they got in on the trend really early, Team Ninja that is. But they also managed to be the most like unique before anyone else, because a lot of people just copied the kind of deliberate combat of Souls likes, where they took their Ninja Gaiden experience and blended it into like the Souls formula, where it's a lot, like I said, faster pace, a bigger emphasis on loot. So if you're a loot person, this is like the series for you. And it's just like, because of how fast paced it is and how technical the combat can get, it's like as much fun to watch as it is to kind of pull off the stuff that you can do, especially again, once you learn your weapon well, which I think this game, even more so than From Software game, kind of demands a mastery of your equipment better, because there's just so much you can dig into there. But with this particular game, the open world stuff that I mentioned before, I think it does like a really good job of not only making the open world like compelling enough to explore just from like a visual and like I guess like narrative design thing, but also just all the rewards they throw at you constantly. And the one thing I'll throw in real quick that I forgot to mention that's like huge is that there's these destinations called crucibles, which is kind of like tied to the plot, where like there are these kind of like demonic versions of the map that you can enter and explore. And they kind of like they basically take you to like a hellish version of like a certain area. And inside the crucibles, it's like harder. Like the enemies are harder, they're unique. And you can also find these unique weapons called crucible weapons that are like stronger, and you can get like, you can learn new abilities from them that you can like gain permanently if you use them enough. But also they have like the downside where if you take damage while wielding a crucible weapon, it like lowers your overall health until you're able to like get to a shrine or like deal damage back. So like they're fun risk reward things. But also like I like the crucibles because they're kind of like nice breaks from like the general open world, and also like the challenge is raised up a bit, whereas like, oh, okay, everything in here hits a little harder, it looks cooler visually, just it literally looks like you're just like fighting your way through hell. And yeah, but yeah, those are like pretty crucial to like the plot of this game, and I think they're like another new addition to like the myriad of other things that the kind of like the map in the world has to offer. But like I said, I'm probably like a good halfway through it. I have a ways to go, but I'm having a blast so far. Like it's a game that you guys ever play, especially open world games for review, where you're like, man, if I was on the clock, I just want to sit down and just like find everything. And I know I can't kind of do that. I have to run past some stuff. Like, oh, there's a cool side quest here. This guy talked to me. I don't have time to do that. I got to bullet towards the main objective as much as I can. But yeah, like I don't often feel that with open world games, but this is one of like, man, I want to clean up everything. I want to see all the abilities that I missed in some of those chests and stuff. It's fun, man.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds overwhelming a bit, but
it is.
It sounds like if that's what you're in the mood for, then it delivers. So I will pay attention to Nioh 3. It wasn't on my radar at all. Some of the stuff you said today is like, I'm gonna keep my eye on it, you know?
Yeah. I will say it does, as as good of a job it probably can do, kind of ease you into its systems. Like there's pretty
Good
decent
onboarding.
tutorials, and there's also like there's whole systems of this game that do not unlock until like 15-20 hours in.
Okay.
Yeah, like they
Actually,
let you get
it's a nice carrot on the stick to know that's how
Yeah.
it kind of trickles out.
like major stuff
cool.
too.
All right. Well, I while you were talking, Marcus, I got sent a Mewgenics code, so the podcast needs to end now, so that I can go and check that out.
Oh, I did too. I just checked Slack. I don't even remember asking for one, but I mean, I guess they assumed like, well, you did the preview, you probably want to play this.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, hey, listeners out there, thank you for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for sticking with us. Of course, like we said at the top of the show, be sure to pick up a copy of Game Informer. Head over to GameInformer.com/subscribe, and you can get access to 10 issues delivered to your mailbox every year. And if you're international, you can get the digital versions through a cheaper subscription. And of course, find us on newsstands in the US and globally.
My future father-in-law was like, I haven't seen any of Charles's magazines on the newsstands in Barnes and Noble. And my fiance was like, "Oh, that's weird." And he's like,
They're
"Yeah,
flying off."
He was like, "Yeah, I haven't been in a Barnes and Noble." And I was like, "Oh, that would be it. You never walked in the store where they are, so that would do it." So if you walk into the Barnes and Noble, you might find one of our magazines.
I'd be like, I'm having a hard time just. Do they sell milk anymore? I haven't seen milk in a while. And you're like, I haven't been to a grocery store. Also, have you been to a store?
I've been in Best Buy looking for milk.
All right, well, we're going to call it there. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week. Goodbye.